Chapter 561. Clatter. The Luo family's iron army rushed out of the gate of the Luo family's residence and lined up on both sides of the gate. The military might of the entire army was impressive, not losing to the elite troops of the Tiger Man Guards. Elder Luo walked out of the gate with a majestic gait. His tiger-like eyes scanned the red-armored troops behind Prince Da. Humph! Betrothal gifts? I think Tianyu's imperial family is up to no good. You want to attack us, right? Grandfather Luo didn't play around with them and directly told them the purpose of the imperial family's visit. Prince Da and the others didn't change their expressions. Don't say that, Elder Luo. Our fifth prince is in love with Miss Luo. The seventh princess was naughty and mischievous in the past and made a mistake. Please don't hold it against her, Elder Luo. His Majesty has already punished her severely. Even the Empress was scolded. Everyone in the Tianyu Empire knows this. I don't need to scold you, Elder Luo. This time, the betrothal gifts were sent with such a large number of people. This is also to show how much we value the Luo family. Prince Da smiled. Among the three princes, he was the most amiable. Who would have thought that just a moment ago? He had even suggested that they should just annihilate the Luo clan without waiting for a plan. Humph, that's Tianyu's own business. Elder Luo wasn't moved by his words at all. Tianyu's imperial family wants my granddaughter's life. I'll never agree to this marriage. As for the engagement, I've already canceled it the last time I went to Tianyu Empire. Tianyu's imperial family is shameless enough to drag it out. Now, in front of so many people, I'll make it clear, our Luo clan doesn't care about the marriage between Tianyu's imperial family. You think we're inferior, but I think you're ungrateful and immoral. There's no point in talking. Take these betrothal gifts and go back to where they came from. As for the betrothal token, I don't want it either. Elder Luo's eyes were cold. Of course, Tianyu's imperial family can use force too. We're not as strong as Tianyu's imperial family. Old Master Luo laughed sarcastically. This time, he didn't give any face to the imperial family at all. He belittled them as if they were worthless in front of the world. These bastards deserved it. The dignified imperial family actually came up with such a sinister and vicious plan. If it wasn't for the news, Elder Luo wouldn't have known that Tianyu's royal family was so vicious. He actually wanted to destroy Qing Tong and the Luo family. Luckily, Qing Tong found out about this. Otherwise, if they succeeded, the Luo family and Qing Tong would be condemned by everyone. Not only would his reputation be ruined, he would also have to face the disdain of others and be consigned to eternal damnation. The royal family of Tianyu deserved to die. If it weren't for Luo Qingtong's order, Grandfather Luo wouldn't have been able to hold himself back. Old Master Luo, you're wrong. When our two families signed the engagement, everything was fine. How can your Luo family break off the engagement because of small matter? Isn't this too much of a joke? Prince Da said sternly. Don't worry, Old Master Luo. When Miss Luo marries into our imperial family, we won't let her suffer the slightest bit. Indeed, they wouldn't let her suffer the slightest bit. They would only let her become a puppet in the palm of Tianyu's imperial family, a tool to create resources and endless benefits for the imperial family. Prince Da sneered. When the time came, they could kill her if they wanted her to live or die. The Luo family and Luo Qingtong couldn't resist at all. Chapter 562. The latter and the others understood. In an instant, one of the aristocratic families of the Eastern Fence country who had received the order stepped forward. Tianyu's royal family is so sincere, but it's a pity that the Luo clan doesn't deserve it. He pretended to be angry as he looked in the direction of Old Master Luo. Luo Tong, you and I have a good relationship, but today I can't help it, and I don't want to hide it for you anymore. Speaking of this, he suddenly raised his voice and said, everyone may not know this, but the reason why the Luo family repeatedly requested to annul the engagement with the Tianyu royal family is not because Luo Qingtong was harmed by the seventh princess, as they said. It's because Luo Qingtong has been having an affair with another man all these years. That man is in the Luo clan. The two of them get along day and night, and Luo Qingtong is pregnant. That's why the Luo clan wants to break off the engagement. Since Luo Qingtong isn't here, they can say whatever they want. As soon as he said that, the crowd burst into an uproar. Wow, no way. Luo Qingtong is having an affair with another man, and that's why the Luo clan wants to break off the engagement with Tianyu's royal family? Oh my god, is this true? No wonder the Luo clan would rather die than accept the engagement. I'm also confused. It's an imperial engagement. The fifth prince said in public that he won't marry anyone other than Luo Qingtong. Even if Yuan Shui did something wrong, it doesn't mean the entire royal family is wrong. Yes, this news is too shocking. However, there really was such a possibility. If Luo Qingtong is having an affair with another man and is pregnant, the Luo clan wouldn't dare to continue the engagement with Tianyu's royal family. Oh my god, so that's the truth. To think that I had thought that the Luo clan would never submit to force, nor would they be corrupted by wealth. Yes, it's unbelievable. I didn't expect the Luo clan to be so shameless. Maybe the seventh princess is also a victim. Who knows if she found out about their affair? So she angrily attacked Luo Qingtong. Otherwise, why would a princess of the empire have to make life difficult for Luo Qingtong, the legitimate daughter of a marquis from an inferior country? You even schemed to kill her. Now that you put it that way, I'm starting to believe you. In other words, Tianyu's royal family is the victim. The group of people discussed animatedly as they looked at the people of the Luo clan with disdain and disdain. I didn't expect Luo Qingtong to be this kind of person. The Luo family is still protecting her. Exactly. Luo Laozi looked at the head of the family who swore that Luo Qingtong really had an affair with someone else and that the Luo family was covering up for her. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. He did have a good relationship with the other party in the past. It was just that when the Luo family met with a disaster and the other party didn't do anything at all, the relationship between him and old Master Luo faded. Who would have thought that he would be the first to jump out and trample on the Luo clan? Good, really good. After the head of the family spoke, the other heads of the families of Dongli country who had already received the signal from the royal family of Tianyu also spoke up one after another. They made it sound as if it was the truth, vivid and vivid. They even talked about how long Luo Qingtong was pregnant and how many months she had been pregnant. They did all this to make it sound as if it was a done deal. Chapter 563. Oh my god, what a turn of events. The evil doctor had an affair with another man and was pregnant. It had been 3 months. They looked at each other in shock. 3 months ago, Master and the evil doctor hadn't known each other for long. Could it be Master? The two of them said in unison. The group of people was in an indescribable mess. They didn't expect their master to be so awesome. They were still worried about when he and the evil doctor would get married. He actually had a child with the evil doctor without anyone noticing. If the people of Dongli country hadn't exposed it, they wouldn't have known. Their master was so good at hiding it. But it was a shame that their master couldn't deal with the evil doctor, even though they had a child. No wonder he didn't want to talk about it. While Beiqing, Feng Yu, and the others were imagining all kinds of things, Prince De and the others from the Qingyan realm had turned pale after hearing the description of the leaders of the aristocratic families of the Easternly nation. They pretended to be angry and questioned, "Old Master Luo, are the words of the aristocratic families true? Your Luo family has indeed abandoned the marriage agreement with our royal family long ago. Luo Qingtong has an affair with someone else, and even has a child." Prince De's expression was the most unsightly. He sneered. No wonder the Luo family turned a blind eye to our sincerity. So there was such an inside story. How disgusting. The Luo family can't be slandered for something we didn't do. Old Luo already knew all this. Although he was bitterly disappointed by the betrayal of his old friend, he pulled himself together quickly. These bastards from the Tianyu family. I'll let them know what it means to go for wool and come home shorn. He sneered and looked at the people from the Tianyu family. You came fully armed today. You said you wanted to send the betrothal gifts, but you secretly wanted to slander the Luo family, so you could attack us, right? Because the Luo family didn't want to continue the engagement with the Tianyu family. You lost face, and now you want to attack us. Old Luo said righteously. Who is the shameless and disgusting one here? Humph! Luo Tong, don't bluff your way out here. As far as I know, that person is now living in the Luo family. Whether it's slander or not, we'll know once we rush into Miss Luo's boudoir. Family head Shun, who jumped out first, shouted sternly. He knew that the royal family of Tianyu had already arranged everything, so he was fearless. That's right. As soon as he said this, Prince spoke in a sinister tone. Now that this matter has been exposed, it is reasonable for us to get to the bottom of this. Old man Luo, if they slander you, it's our imperial family's fault. I will naturally take care of this matter and punish these people who slandered the Luo family and instigated the relationship between our two families. But if there is such a thing, with that, he glared at grandfather Luo, then don't blame us for being merciless. The dignity of the royal family cannot be challenged. Men, charge in. With that, he waved his hand and was about to order the Meng Tiger Guards to break into the residence. Today, he would hang the evidence of the Luo family and Luo Qingtong breaking the engagement in front of everyone. He would make them unable to defend themselves and be despised by everyone. Chapter 564. Wait! Grandpa Luo roared when he saw what Luo Binghe was doing. We, the Luo family, look up to the heavens and earth. We have a clear conscience. There is nothing to hide. I can let you search the place to clear our name. But if you can't find it, I'll deal with those who slandered our Luo family. Tianyu's imperial family must break off the engagement with our Luo family immediately. Our Luo family can't stand an in-law who suspects my granddaughter of having an affair. We can't bear the love of the Tianyu imperial family. Elder Luo looked at Prince Da and the others with disdain. You can't wait to see the fifth prince be cuckolded. How much do you hate him? Our Luo family won't play along with you. We won't allow you to slander us. Okay. Prince Da agreed without hesitation. Luo Tong, this old fart is really naive. Did he think he had a clear conscience because he didn't do anything? He was indeed a boorish man. He didn't know how vicious the schemes in this world could be. If Luo Qingtong didn't have an adulterer, couldn't they just make one up? They wanted to break off the engagement with the imperial family. Unfortunately, after today, the Luo family would cease to exist in this world. Okay, all of you here have heard what he said. If you can't find it, our Luo family will have nothing to do with the imperial family of Tianyu. The engagement will be canceled. Elder Luo raised his voice. A bunch of idiots. Let them search the place. Dongli Prince didn't arrange anyone inside. Then, the imperial family of Tianyu would confirm the slander in front of the whole world. This marriage contract was officially annulled. He didn't want to be stuck with this piece of sticky candy. It was so annoying. Elder Luo snorted and stepped aside. Prince Da led a group of people from the imperial family of Tianyu and the aristocratic families of Dongli country into the house. The crowd of onlookers rushed in as well. It would be a waste if they didn't watch this gossip. Whoosh! They rushed into the Luo family and went straight to the main house. At this moment, the people from Evil Valley who were in charge of guarding the Luo family in the dark were all frightened to the place where they were hiding. 7 by 7, 49 positions. Above each formation, everyone was rooted to the spot by a terrifyingly powerful aura. From head to toe, they only had 2 eyeballs that could move. At this moment, they were looking at the figure that appeared in their line of sight with shock and horror. The man was dressed in silver and had black hair. His aura was extremely powerful, and with a wave of his sleeve, he could cause clouds and rain to fall. At this moment, he was standing under the window of Luo Qingtong's room with his hands clasped behind his back. He was like a divine king who had descended from the 9th heaven. His gaze was serene as he looked through the thin veil on the window at the aggressive crowd outside. The dark golden mask reflected a faint light, completely covering the man's handsome face that was like a celestial being's. Only a pair of blood-red eyes could be seen, which seemed to contain countless saber lights. With just a glance, it made people feel that the 9 heavens and 10 earths were extremely tyrannical. Affair. The man's voice was low and melodious, with a faint feeling of coldness and majesty, but one could also feel the faint joy in it. Yi Qianren's lips curled up slightly. He liked this accusation that people outside had pinned on him. Chapter 565. Bang! The members of Tianyu's royal family charged into the main courtyard in an aggressive manner. The people of Evil Valley who were rooted to the spot could only watch as they rushed into Luo Qingtong's room. Oh my god, there was a peerless demon inside. Ming Zun. It was Ming Zun from the Black Field. The people of Evil Valley didn't know why this supreme being from the Black Field would appear in the Luo family. Was he here for Master? The people of Evil Valley who came from the Black Field's slave market guessed. But how did Ming Zun know Master's identity? And the people of Evil Valley thought bitterly. Ming Zun and Master didn't seem to have a good relationship. During this period of time, they had also heard that the Dark Region was searching everywhere for traces of their master. This supreme being from the Black Field wouldn't be here to cause trouble for Master, would he? It was as if everything had clashed together. Master, come back quickly. We can't take it anymore. Bang! The imperial family of Tianyu pushed open the door to Luo Qingtong's room in front of the shocked eyes of the people of Evil Valley. Humph! Look, there's nothing you want inside. Old Master Luo followed closely behind them and snorted. He was about to mock the imperial family of Tianyu. However, when he glanced around, he saw a figure sitting in the middle of the room. In an instant, his voice trailed off. Then he suddenly raised his head and shouted in disbelief, "Who are you?" King Dongli didn't arrange for anyone to come in. The Luo family was protected by Qingtong's array and the people of Evil Valley. It was impossible for anyone to arrange for someone to come in. How on earth did this person appear? Old Master Luo was dumbfounded. He didn't know what went wrong. Could it be that this person was arranged by his granddaughter to expose the imperial family of Tianyu's conspiracy? However, just as he was thinking about it, Yi Qianqian's cold voice sounded. Luo Qingtong's man. As soon as these words were spoken, Prince Da and the others, who thought that their scheme had succeeded, immediately shouted, "Luo Tong, your Luo family really did break the engagement with the royal family. He actually condoned Luo Qingtong to have an affair with another man, disregarding the dignity of the imperial family. You people of the Luo clan deserve to die. Men, flatten the Luo clan immediately. Other than Luo Tong, kill everyone else." As soon as the prince had finished speaking, there was a whoosh in his left hand. A signal light suddenly shot up into the sky and exploded in the sky. Bang, bang, bang. Outside Luo family, when the several tens of thousands of Mang Tiger Guards saw the signal in the sky, they immediately tore apart the decorative red armor they wore, revealing the austere black armor underneath. A murderous aura was emitted without restraint. All Mang Tiger Guards attack. As the Prince had shouted, in an instant, tens of thousands of Mang Tiger Guards rushed toward the Luo clan like a black tide. At the same time, in the main courtyard of the Luo clan, Prince Da made his move against Grandfather Luo. The 5 fingers of his hands were like claws, and they instantly grabbed at Elder Luo in front of him. The experts of Tianyu's imperial family beside him also sneered and attacked the people around Grandfather Luo. The lords of the Dongli nation's imperial family who had slandered the Luo clan also attacked. In an instant, these people revealed their true colors. They looked at the Luo clan as if they were lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Chapter 566. Bang! A series of loud noises came from outside. In an instant, countless cries of pain could be heard. Outside the Luo family, Luo Qingtong was like a blood-soaked Azura. Her entire body was covered in a glaring and bloodthirsty red. Large patches of blood splattered on her robe, but were absorbed by the red, causing the patterns on her robe to bloom into an even more beautiful and enchanting flower. Rumble. Luo Qingtong raised the wind and thunder sword her hand. With every attack, she reaped the lives of a large number of Mang Tiger Guards. Behind her, little Overlord Yuan and the others worked together and followed her like a meat grinder. Yuan Hu's defense, Sima Ju's poison, Su Xiaoxiao's medicine, Ling Yu Er's whip, and Ling Tianhan's sword. This group of students from Tianyu Academy was strong enough to kill experts of the same level. When they worked together, their power was even more terrifying. The group of Mang Tiger Guard elites was like a tidal wave. They were like Moses parting the sea, carving out a bloody path for them. Eldest Miss, the Luo family's iron soldiers guarding the Luo family's gate, saw Luo Qingtong's arrival and instantly shouted in surprise. Their gazes towards the girl were full of admiration and worship. Eldest Miss was back. Their Luo family would not be in any danger. Eldest Miss, the Tianyu royal family is too much. They slandered our Luo family and want to kill us all. The Luo family's iron soldiers said, "Don't worry, there will no longer be a Tianyu royal family in this world." Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. She looked at the Luo family's iron soldiers. "Change all your guns to these." As Luo Qingtong spoke, she threw out a ring. Inside were all the spirit chi guns she had recently experimented with. They could absorb the spirit chi in the air to attack. As long as the user had enough strength, they could always use the spirit chi guns to attack. Yes, the Luo family's iron soldiers did not ask anything and directly changed to the spirit chi guns Luo Qingtong gave them. These guns were not the pocket-sized guns Luo Qingtong made for them before, but the Desert Eagle-type light machine guns. Beat 'em up. When everyone in the Luo family's iron army finished changing, Luo Qingtong asked little Overlord Yuan and the others to step aside. In the next second, bam, bam, bam. Miserable screams sounded from all around. Tens of thousands of Mang Tiger Guard elites were instantly shot down by the Luo family's iron army like paper. Large swathes of them fell down. Under the Luo family's iron army, the spirit bullets shot out by the guns that were enhanced with spirit energy transformation inscriptions easily tore apart the profound energy shields that enveloped the Mang Tiger Guards. A large number of them were killed on the spot. In just a few breaths of time, the several tens of thousands of Verdant Tiger Guard elites that were enough to flatten the Luo family all fell to the ground. There was an indescribable silence. Even the soldiers of the Luo clan were stunned by the power of their attacks. Instant kill. It was actually an instant kill. Moreover, it was a large number of instant kills. Oh my God, since when was it so easy to kill the Imperial family's elite Tiger Guards? What kind of terrifying killing weapon did Eldest Miss give them? It was actually many times more powerful than the previous ones. It could even use spirit chi, and they did not need to spend too much effort. Everyone was stunned. Little Overlord Yuan and the others were even more shocked. Although they knew that Luo Qingtong definitely had a way to deal with these several tens of thousands of Mang Tiger Guard elites, they did not expect her method to be so shocking. What kind of weapon was this? It could actually ignore the user's level and launch such a powerful attack. Chapter 567. Just as Luo Qingtong was rushing back, rays of array light shot up from the Luo family and instantly enveloped Prince Da and the others who had attacked. That vast and majestic aura instantly filled the entire Luo residence as it charged towards Prince Da and the others. Formation. When they saw the streaks of light in the sky, Prince Da and the others narrowed their eyes. How could there be such a terrifying formation in the Luo residence? Why didn't they notice it when they came in? Before they could react, those terrifying attacks fell on them like a torrential downpour in the next second. Rumble. Everyone who had attacked the Luo clan with murderous intent had been baptized by the attacks of these arrays. In the blink of an eye, a series of miserable howls rang out. In an instant, the imperial family of Tianyu suffered heavy injuries. The heads of the aristocratic families of Dongli Nation were sent flying while vomiting blood. They were no match for the imperial family of Tianyu in terms of strength. Under such an overwhelming attack, it was already extremely fortunate to be able to survive. And that was because the imperial family of Tianyu had blocked most of the attacks for them. Oh no, there's such a powerful formation in the Luo residence. Quick, get out of here and join forces with the rest of the army to destroy the formation. The martial emperor elder, who had been standing by the side with his hands behind his back and did not participate in the attack, said. Seeing the formation's attack pattern, he carried the injured Prince Da and his men and left. However, when they arrived outside the Luo residence, they were shocked by the scene outside. Corpses were everywhere. Corpses were everywhere. The entire area outside the Luo residence was covered in corpses. They were all the elites of the Tiger Guards. They had brought tens of thousands of soldiers with them. The elite army of Tianyu's imperial family, which was enough to flatten the Luo residence and capture Old Master Luo, had been annihilated. What's going on? Prince Da spat out blood as he looked at the scene in shock. Tens of thousands of soldiers. They had thought that if Luo Qingtong had left any trump cards in the Luo residence, they could use their strength and numbers to wipe them out. Old Master Luo would be under his control, and now this army of tens of thousands had been completely annihilated. Prince Da's face was filled with disbelief. The faces of the masters of the aristocratic families of the Eastern Border Kingdom who were lucky enough to survive were ashen. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. How was this possible? The Tianyu royal family's army was so strong. How could they be destroyed so easily? Even a clan on the same level as Tianyu's imperial family wouldn't be able to do it so cleanly. How long had it been since they entered the Luo family? With such speed, only a martial emperor expert who had directly entered the realm of unity of heaven and man would be able to destroy it with a single move. What the hell is going on? As for that martial emperor-level old man, his face was also filled with astonishment. At this moment, a fiery red figure entered their sight. Evil Dr. Ghost, seeing Luo Qingtong appear in front of the Luo family's iron army, the Prince of Da and the others opened their eyes wide and couldn't help but exclaim. She actually rushed back. Evil Dr. Ghost, Chapter 568. Evil Dr. Gui Tong. Luo Qingtong is actually evil Dr. Gui Tong. No wonder Tianyu's royal family wants to deal with her at all costs. No wonder they are so desperate to deal with the Luo family. It turns out that he wants to control Luo Qingtong. They finally know why Tianyu's royal family wants to deal with the Luo family. No wonder they are willing to make the fifth Prince a cuckold so that they can make a move on Luo Qingtong. It's because Luo Qingtong is evil Dr. Gui Tong. They know her identity, so they want to control her, and the Luo family is the best way to break through. Thinking of this, the aristocratic families of Dongli country are scared out of their wits. They are helping Tianyu's royal family to deal with evil Dr. Gui Tong. With Gui Tong's identity and ability, she can wipe them and their families out in minutes. What kind of bear hearts and leopard guts do they eat? If there is no medicine for regret in this world, they would have eaten a dozen, especially the Chun family head who was the first to stand up against the Luo family. He fainted on the spot in regret. He and Old Master Luo were good friends. If he hadn't been blinded by greed, the Chen family would have been able to prosper. The group is filled with regret and shock. At this moment, the martial emperor powerhouse suddenly reacted to the situation. Luo Qingtong, you came at the right time. He greedily looked at the guns in the hands of the Luo family soldiers. He has a feeling that these guns are the reason why the Mang Tiger Guards were killed. For the Luo clan's iron army, whose strength was clearly inferior to the Mang Tiger Guards, to be able to kill so many Mang Tiger Guards in a few breaths of time, what kind of valiant existence was this weapon? And the array that enveloped the Luo family was so powerful that it almost killed Prince Da and the rest. That was a group of martial emperor experts. That array is definitely Luo Qingtong's work. Weapon refiner, spiritual array master. In addition to evil Dr. Gui Tong's identity as an alchemist and her powerful medical skills. If they can get their hands on her, it will be very beneficial for Tianyu's royal family and these old guys who are stuck at the bottleneck of martial emperor cultivation. Ha! Luo Qingtong, we originally wanted to control that old bastard Luo Tong first, and then force you to come out of Tianyu Branch Academy. I didn't expect that you would actually rush back at this time. Even the heavens are helping us. His figure floated up. The aura of a martial emperor instantly spread out in all directions. The realm of oneness of heaven and man locked onto the sky. In an instant, a powerful and terrifying aura was emitted from his body. TSK. This old man was actually a superior martial emperor. Furthermore, he was about to break through to the peak. Tianyu's royal family is really something. Little Pig crawled out of Luo Qingtong's sleeve with a serious expression. At this moment, the martial emperor's voice rang out arrogantly. Luo Qingtong, seeing that Mo is determined to marry you, you'd better surrender now and come back with me. We can even give you the status of a concubine in Tianyu's royal family. Otherwise, when I personally break your limbs and capture you, you won't even have the chance to be a concubine. That martial Grand Emperor realm expert had an arrogant expression. He looked at Luo Qingtong as if she was a fish in his palm and a turtle in a jar. Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and was about to speak. Chapter 569. This venerable woman is your concubine. Hearing this angry voice, Luo Qingtong was stunned. She turned around and saw a silver-clothed, black-haired man with a dark golden mask walking out of the Luo clan's gate. That's right. He walked out of the Luo clan's gate. Luo Qingtong blinked, not knowing what was going on. Why was this man here? And in the Luo clan's residence? Luo Qingtong was so shocked that she didn't notice Yi Qianxian saying this venerable woman. She also didn't know that Yi Qianxian had just been caught red-handed by the people from Tianyu clan as an adulterer. Just as she spoke, the face of the martial emperor on the other side suddenly darkened. He looked at Yi Qianren and shouted sternly, "Who are you?" When he saw Yi Qianxian in Luo Qingtong's room, the martial emperor didn't look carefully. He just glanced at him casually and knew there was such a man. Now he saw Yi Qianxian walking out of the Luo clan's gate. He was wearing a silver robe, and with a wave of his sleeves, he seemed to be carrying countless silver lights as he stepped on the path of stars. His black hair was like a waterfall, and the dark golden mask on his face was shining with cold light under the sun. The patterns on the mask were simple and gorgeous, low-key and luxurious. It was not an ordinary item. Hearing him call himself this venerable, the martial emperor's face turned cold. How could he not know that this man was not sent by King Dongli? Yi Qianxian ignored him and looked at the surprised woman, who was looking at him with widened eyes. He snorted and said, "Why aren't you talking? Aren't you very talkative and arrogant in front of this venerable? Why are you not talking after being bullied this time?" This woman, when facing him, was all kinds of cunning and unscrupulous, and full of nonsense. Why was she not talking when he came this time? Luo Qingtong looked at him and felt a little guilty. She had really screwed this man over this time. When Luo Qingtong thought about how she had imprisoned a wisp of his soul and almost caused little Ming Zun to dissipate, she felt guilty as she looked at Yi Qianxian. The moment she saw the man appear, she subconsciously wanted to slip away. But thinking of the promise she made to little Ming Venerable and the words, "I won't hurt you," Luo Qingtong couldn't run anymore. Forget it. I'll just be taught a lesson by this man. Anyway, she had a way to treat his meridians, so he probably wouldn't be too ruthless. But just as she was thinking this, the man suddenly said this. Luo Qingtong blinked her eyes and carefully analyzed the meaning behind Yi Qianxian's words. Then she realized that he meant he wanted to back her up. He didn't come here to settle accounts with her this time. Luo Qingtong looked at the man with a gloomy face and a domineering aura. Light flashed in her eyes. Then she raised her hand and tried to point at the martial emperor expert. "My lord, he bullied me. He even said that he would destroy the Luo family and take me back to the Tianyu royal family to be Yuan Mo's concubine. Luo Qingtong's complaint was righteous. Anyway, this man asked her to say it. It would be a waste not to hug his thigh. This martial emperor expert was indeed difficult for her to deal with, not to mention the people of the Luo family. It was hard to guarantee that there would be no casualties. Thinking of this, Luo Qingtong didn't need moral integrity anymore. Chapter 570. Lord, even you didn't do this to me. The imperial family of Tianyu has gone too far, Luo Qingtong said indignantly. Her face was full of grievances. If Luo Qingtong were to act, she would definitely be an award-winning actress. Otherwise, how could she have completed so many missions in her previous life and escaped from so many people's pursuit? Even Yi Qianxian had fallen for her tricks several times when he wasn't paying attention. Now that she had such an aggrieved expression, those who didn't know would think that the imperial family of Tianyu had done something inhumane to the Luo clan. However, the Meng tiger guards lying on the ground were all from the imperial family of Tianyu. The Luo clan, including Luo Qingtong, were completely fine. The people around him were all dumbfounded. They didn't expect the young miss to have such a side. What they didn't know was that in front of Yi Qianxian, Luo Qingtong had all kinds of faces. In order to escape from the man's hands, Luo Qingtong had almost used the 72 transformations. This face was only one of them. Yi Qianren harumphed coldly. Although he knew that this woman was definitely putting on an act, the anger in his heart still rose layer by layer when he heard her say that she had been bullied. For the first time, he felt that he had been too slow to find this woman. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed the imperial family of Tianyu to humiliate her like this. He couldn't bear to hurt this woman at all, but the imperial family of Tianyu dared to make her a concubine. They even wanted to break her limbs. Thinking of this, Yi Qianxian's bloodthirsty aura rose. He didn't make a move. Instead, he looked at Luo Qingtong with his hands behind his back and said, "With me here, you can bully them back." He would let this woman vent her anger. Shameless boasting. When the martial emperor expert saw Yi Qianren appear, his face was filled with bewilderment. However, after sensing Yi Qianxian's aura for a while, he couldn't sense anything. His expression changed from bewilderment to mockery. "Oomph. Do you think that you can fool me by pretending to be a ghost? I'm not that stupid. Return to the original body. Why don't you say that you are the Blackfield's underworld venerable?" As soon as he said this, the people of Evil Valley looked at him strangely. Others might not know Yi Qianxian's identity, but they did. This was the Supreme Blackfield. This martial emperor of Tianyu's royal family probably didn't know that he had guessed the truth. However, the martial emperor-level old man didn't notice their gazes at all. He only looked at Luo Qingtong and Yi Qianxian maliciously and said, "Luo Qingtong, I didn't expect you to actually have an adulterer at home. You're even so arrogant and unconcealable. You're really looking down on the dignity of Tianyu's royal family. Luo Qingtong, just wait for me to cripple you and bring you back. As for the status of a concubine, you can forget about it. A slut like you isn't worthy of Mo. If Mo really wants you, then you could be a lowly slave. Anyway, this won't affect your service to Tianyu's royal family." As the martial emperor old man said this, he suddenly flew up like a vulture. His 5 fingers were like hooks, grabbing at Luo Qingtong fiercely. As for Yi Qianxian, he simply took him as a bluff to scare him. He didn't pay attention to him at all. However, just as he rose into the air, a voice rang out. Chapter 571. This! He froze in midair with a look of shock on his face. He could not move at all. Yi Qianxian did not even release his own aura. Just one look was enough to freeze the space and time around him. The martial emperor-level old man's boundless power, which seemed to have merged with his surroundings and could use the power of the heavens and the earth at will, was not worth mentioning in front of Yi Qianren. The man stared at him coldly. He could not tell if his aura was real or fake, but the martial emperor-level old man no longer dared to treat him as a powerless, nameless pawn. He froze him in midair with just one look, breaking his realm of being one with the heavens and causing all his power to be trapped in his body. He could not release it at all. What kind of valiant power was this? He was a martial emperor-level old man, not some random Tom, Dick, or Harry. However, in front of this man, he was like a speck of dust facing a tall mountain. The latter did not need to use any power at all. The wind from a random rock falling was enough to blow him away. That was what the martial emperor-level old man was feeling at this moment. The man looked at him as if he was looking at an overconfident ant. With a flick of his sleeve, crack, 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 the martial emperor-level old man's bones were crushed into pieces in an instant. The power in his body was also crushed in an instant. A miserable cry of pain instantly burst out from his mouth. Yi Qianxian released the restraints, and the martial emperor-level old man fell to the ground like a pile of mud. His body twitched violently, and he gasped for breath like a dead fish on the ground. Yi Qianxian clasped his hand behind his back and looked at Luo Qingtong. "I'll leave him for you to deal with." Luo Qingtong stared at him speechlessly. He had already beaten the old man to such a state, and he was on his last breath. Why would he leave him for her to deal with? However, this martial emperor-level old man's mouth was too cheap. Luo Qingtong looked at the martial emperor with a dangerous gaze when she recalled that the other party had said that he would turn her into a lowly slave. "I heard that the Black Field has a place that specializes in training sex slaves. I don't know if it's suitable for someone as old as him." Luo Qingtong rubbed her chin. The martial emperor's eyes narrowed when he heard her words. Not only because Luo Qingtong said she wanted to turn him into a sex slave, but also because of Luo Qingtong's words. "Your Black Field." Black Field, true body. This was a silver-clothed, black-haired man. The martial emperor-level expert stared at Yi Qianxian in shock and horror. His mouth was wide open as he let out sounds of shock and despair. Ming Zun. This silver-clothed, black-haired man was actually Black Field's Ming Zun. That was Supreme Black Field's Ming Zun. Thinking about how he had mocked and insulted the other party, and then thinking about how Luo Qingtong's lover was actually such a person, the martial emperor expert's eyes rolled back. He couldn't even breathe and was scared to death. Black Field's Ming Zun, the one who had an affair with Luo Qingtong, was actually that Supreme Black Field's Ming Zun. Tianyu's royal family was finished. It's over. Filled with endless regret and despair, the martial emperor's eyes widened and he breathed his last. Seeing the other party die, Yi Qianxian frowned. Then he ignored him and set his eyes on Luo Qingtong. His eyes were deep and burning. Chapter 572. This woman can't escape this time. Can she? Yi Qianxian looked at Luo Qingtong with a burning gaze. His thin lips moved slightly. "Luo, Qi." His voice had just sounded when suddenly Luo Qingtong's expression changed. Swish! She jumped up and swept past Yi Qianxian in an instant. Her movement was so fast that Yi Qianxian didn't have time to react. Is this woman going to run away again? In an instant, the blue veins on Yi Qianxian's forehead bulged. He tried so hard to find this woman's whereabouts, but she still wanted to run away. Once she thought about losing this woman's trail again and not knowing when she would be able to find this cunning woman again, Yi Qianren felt like she wanted to destroy the world. But soon he calmed down, because he found that the direction Luo Qingtong rushed was none other than the Luo family. This woman wasn't going to escape? What happened in the Luo family? Yi Qianxian thought so, but he was still worried. His figure flashed and rushed in. This woman was too cunning. Who knew if she would disappear again after entering the Luo family? As Yi Qianren thought of this, she immediately followed him in. "Grandpa." Luo Qingtong's eyes were cold. Just now, she felt that the protection she set on Old Master Luo was triggered. As the only family member that Luo Qingtong valued, Luo Qingtong protected Old Master Luo to the best of her ability. Especially after Old Master Luo was schemed against by Luo Lauer last time. Luo Qingtong was even more careful. At this moment, she felt as if her heart and soul had been deeply touched. Something happened to Old Master Luo. Swish! Luo Qingtong rushed into the main courtyard. As soon as she rushed in, she saw Prince De resisting the Luo family's array and rushing toward old Master Luo, covered in blood. Huh, Luo Qingtong? I didn't expect you to have an affair with Blackfield's Mingzun. It's over. It's all over. I'm finished. The entire imperial family of Tianyu is finished. Seeing Luo Qingtong rush in, Prince De's expression became extremely deranged. Who would have thought that Blackfield's Mingzun would fall in love with Luo Qingtong? The Black Domain searched everywhere for the whereabouts of evil Dr. Guetong. It was for no other reason than to find Luo Qingtong. What a joke. They tried their best to slander Luo Qingtong, wanting to imprison her in Tianyu's royal family and make her serve them. But in the end, they caught the real adulterers. This adulterer was imperial family, couldn't afford to offend him. If they had known about the relationship between Luo Qingtong and Black Region Underworld Venerable, they would never have dared to attack the Luo family, let alone imprison Luo Qingtong and make her a puppet of the royal family. Now that everything was exposed, neither he nor the royal family of Tianyu would have any chance of survival. Blackfield's Mingzun was powerful enough to cover the sky. Even the four sacred dynasties couldn't do anything about him. They could only let him develop his influence and take root in the four sacred dynasties. He was a peerless powerhouse who had developed Blackfield's inner city. For such a powerhouse, erasing the imperial family of Tianyu would be as easy as eating and drinking. The moment Prince De heard the news, he knew that he and the imperial family of Tianyu were done for. The only one who could survive was Yuan Mo, who was in the Empire of Qin's Sacred Academy and didn't know what they were doing. Haha, Luo Qingtong, even if I can't live, I'll make you suffer for the rest of your life. Chapter 573. Self-Explosion. Prince De detonated all the power in his body. The power of the peak of the martial royal realm was compressed in an instant and then exploded violently. The shock wave of the explosion was almost equivalent to the full blow of an ordinary martial emperor realm expert. And old Master Luo was right in front of him. He had completely withstood this wave of attack. Grandpa, seeing this, Luo Qingtong's eyes turned red instantly. Whoosh! She dashed over in an instant. At the same time, Yi Qianxian waved his sleeve. Instantly, the violent attack of Prince De was frozen in place. The terrifying attack that didn't even have the time to wreak havoc was instantly imprisoned in place and silently extinguished. The power of the Sage Realm was never something that could be estimated by ordinary people. Prince De used his life in exchange for this violent attack. Yi Qianren didn't even put it in her eyes. She just casually waved her hand, and the power completely disappeared. However, old Master Luo was nowhere to be seen. Grandpa, Luo Qingtong dashed over. In an instant, her blood eyes opened. At this moment, she did not care that she might reveal the secret of her pupil skill in front of Yi Qianxian. Anyway, this man had already seen through many of her pupil skill secrets. She could not hide it from him for long. Moreover, since he had found her and she was not going to run away, she would naturally treat his injuries. In this way, the secret of her pupil skill would still be exposed. When little Nether Venerable disappeared, she was actually willing to believe his words. He wouldn't hurt her. Whoosh! Luo Qingtong's strength had been promoted to the intermediate martial king realm. She could activate and support more pupil skills. The blood-red light in her eyes intensified. In an instant, the scene of Prince De's self-detonation was reflected in her eyes. The supreme pupil skill, time reversal. As if it was replayed in slow motion, the scene suddenly appeared in Luo Qingtong's blood eyes. F*CK. Little Pig, who had jumped out of Luo Qingtong's sleeve, was stunned by this scene. SH*T. This woman is abnormal again. This is too much. Time reversal. Even if an expert of the Sage Realm had mastered a certain amount of the law of heaven and earth. No, even if an expert of the Sage Realm and above understood the operation of the law of heaven and earth and began to comprehend the law of heaven, only a very few people could use this skill. Although Luo Qingtong's time reversal could only be used to replay images and could not turn back time in reality, it was already very powerful. This was a space-time skill. The law of time and space was the domain of gods. Once it was mastered by a master Luo Qingtong's god's time. Luo Qingtong, Qingtong's Qingtong. Little Pig's eyes widened as he watched Luo Qingtong use her eye technique in shock. Yi Qianxian also looked at Luo Qingtong with a deep gaze. In the next second, he sensed that the people of the Luo family and little Overlord Yuan had arrived. He immediately waved his hand, and a light wall surrounded Luo Qingtong in an instant, preventing others from prying into what she was doing. Chapter 574. Yi Qianxian subconsciously protected Luo Qingtong, guarding her secret. This woman, her magic, her beauty, it was enough for him to know. The others didn't need to know. Young miss. Boss. Seeing Luo Qingtong surrounded by the wall of light, the others didn't know that it was created by Yi Qianxian to protect Luo Qingtong. They thought she was under attack and subconsciously wanted to rush forward, but Yi Qianxian stopped them. Your young miss is fine. Don't cause trouble. Yi Qianxian didn't know if there were any taboos for Luo Qingtong to use this skill, but for safety's sake, he wouldn't let anyone disturb her. The man's voice was cold. His body floated in the air, emitting an invisible and oppressive aura. Almost instantly, everyone was suppressed to the ground, unable to resist at all. Little Overlord Yuan and the others were directly suppressed to the ground. At this moment, the wall of light shattered with a swoosh, and Luo Qingtong walked out from it. Her face was slightly pale, as if she had overexerted herself, but she looked very relieved. Obviously, Grandfather Luo was fine. But where did that old man go? Yi Qianxian raised his eyebrows. When Prince self-destructed, he seemed to have felt a trace of spatial fluctuation. Life and death interdependence curse? He was just thinking about it and was about to tell Luo Qingtong, but he saw the girl's expression turn serious. She directly left in a hurry, surrounded by the Luo family's Iron Army and Evil Valley's people. She didn't even notice him. Looking at Luo Qingtong's departing figure, the completely forgotten Yi Qianxian, the veins on his forehead bulged again. At this moment, a Luo family's Iron Army hurriedly rushed back and said to Yi Qianxian, "Young master, our young miss said she has something to do and will be back later. She asked you to wait in the residence for a while." After Luo Qingtong went out, she remembered that there was a big Buddha that she had forgotten in the Luo family. Thinking about Yi Qianxian's temper, she was afraid that he would think that she had run away again. If he lost control of his aura and destroyed the Luo family, who would she cry to? Immediately, he sent a soldier of the Luo clan to report back. Yi Qianxian, who was fuming with anger and was about to dash out to capture Luo Qingtong, instantly gnashed his teeth when he heard this. This woman, to think she still remembered him. He was a dignified underworld venerable. Wherever he went, he would be welcomed by tens of thousands of people. Only this woman could come and go at his beck and call. But he couldn't do anything to her. Glaring at the direction Luo Qingtong left for a while, Yi Qianxian coldly ordered the Luo family's iron soldier, "Lead the way. I'm going to your eldest miss room to rest." Didn't he ask him to wait? He would wait in her room. He wanted to see when that woman would come back, if she dared to lie to him again. Yi Qianxian kept saying he for a long time, but there was nothing he could do. He couldn't bear to hurt that woman. With a stomach full of gloominess, he walked with a cold face towards Luo Qingtong's courtyard. Before he left, he didn't forget to ask Bei Qing and Feng Yu to follow Luo Qingtong and make sure that nothing happened to her. Yi Qianxian guessed that that woman must have gone to Tianyu's royal family to settle accounts. Grandfather Luo had such a big accident. Even if he was lucky to be fine, Luo Qingtong definitely wouldn't let it go. Not to mention that Tianyu's royal family clearly knew that she was the evil Dr. Ghost, and still wanted to control her. Yi Qianxian naturally couldn't let Luo Qingtong suffer. No matter how angry his woman made him, it was his business to teach her a lesson. Chapter 575. Swoosh. Outside, the Luo family. Luo Qingtong led the Iron Guards of the Luo family and the people of the Evil Valley into the courtyard of the Tianyu imperial family. They captured Prince Cheng and the others who were recovering. You, Luo Qingtong. Prince Cheng and the others were shocked to see Luo Qingtong and the others. What happened? Why was Luo Qingtong here? Shouldn't she be in the Tianyu branch? Because Luo Qingtong was in the Tianyu branch, they couldn't touch her. That was why they started with the Luo residence. They didn't expect her to be here. What about Granduncle and the others? Prince Cheng's eyes widened when he suddenly thought of this question. You're looking for them? Luo Qingtong waved her hand and ordered the bodies of the martial Grand Emperor and the Tianyu imperial family to be brought up. The girl's beautiful face was filled with a cold smile. Why are you shocked? Don't worry, there's more to come. Luo Qingtong waved her hand. Take them all away. In addition, all the clans who helped the Tianyu imperial family to harm the Luo family must be massacred. Today, I'll dye the eastern fence wall with blood. Whip the bodies of the heads of those clans and hang them on the city gate. Luo Qingtong's lips were filled with a bloodthirsty smile. Perhaps she had been too easy to talk to. So the clans of the Eastern Fence Country joined them to attack the Luo family after the Tianyu imperial family made it clear that they wanted to deal with the Luo family. If she wasn't ruthless enough before, then she would change. This time, she would let everyone know how angry they would be if they attacked the Luo family. If those external troubles could not be eradicated, then she would let everyone know how terrifying it was to dare to touch her Luo family. Even if those people could tear off a piece of flesh from the Luo family, they would be killed by her. Grandfather Luo's disappearance had completely triggered the bloodthirsty beast hidden in Luo Qingtong's heart. What these people didn't know was that she, Evil Eye, had never been a kind person. However, for the development of the Luo family and the existence of old Master Luo, she slightly suppressed the evil in her bones. Otherwise, according to her previous temperament, how could the royal family of Tianyu plot against her? She had already taken it away at all costs. It was precisely because she was worried about the Luo family and had the shackles of kinship that she restrained herself a little. However, those people seemed to have taken her tolerance as a concession. In that case, she would let them know the consequences of angering her. Rumble. Luo Qingtong took out the gloomy and cold Rakshasa mask from her bosom and put on her face with a sneer. In just a moment, she had turned into that demonic youth that overflowed with evil energy, the one who had attracted the attention of countless holy dynasty influences, the one who was sought after by everyone within the entire True Spill continent. Evil Dr. Ghost Pupil. Let's go to the Tianyu Empire's imperial city. Playing with the wind and thunder sword in her hands, Luo Qingtong's voice was cold, carrying with it a chilling aura. Today, I will slaughter the royal family of Tianyu. Shua. Chapter 576. Tianyu Empire, Imperial City. At this moment, the most prosperous city in Tianyu Empire had entered a state of Level 1 alert. Emperor Tianyu stood on the walls of the Imperial Palace, glaring angrily at the army besieging the Imperial City. Ling Feng, are you Duke Ling's people crazy? How dare you mobilize your private army to besiege the Imperial City? Are you trying to rebel? Emperor Tianyu was still dreaming about controlling Luo Qingtong when he heard a report that Duke Ling's people had mobilized their army to besiege the Imperial City. He thought it was fake, but it turned out to be true. How dare the people from Duke Ling's mansion? How dare they attack the Imperial family at this time? Did they plan this from the start? Emperor Tianyu was furious. He had mobilized tens of thousands of elite Tiger Guards to deal with House Luo. They should have Master Luo under control by now. Otherwise, how could Duke Ling's people have the chance to invade the Imperial City? Ling Feng, I advise you not to make a mistake. Emperor Tianyu looked coldly at Duke Ling's people. Although all the elite Tiger Guards have been mobilized, the Imperial City's 3 armies are still loyal to the Imperial family. You mobilized the Ling army and the Middle army to besiege the imperial city. Do you really think the imperial city's 3 armies will let you do whatever you want? Your Majesty is right. On the back of the horse, the old Duke Ling, who was already 60 years old, laughed out loud. He had just received news that evil Dr. Ghost I was on his way here. With that person's ability and House Lanyue's help, the imperial family of Tianyu was isolated and helpless in the imperial city. Even if the Tiger Guards hadn't been mobilized, they were nothing in front of evil Dr. Ghost I and House Lanyue. He looked at Emperor Tianyu with pity. Your Majesty, you don't have to wait. The imperial city's 3 armies are blocked by House Lanyue's people outside the city. You should know how powerful that family is. That's a force comparable to a sacred dynasty. If not for old Master Lanyue being nostalgic and wanting to settle down in Sky Universe Imperial City, they would never have appeared in our empire. With them here, Your Majesty, you don't need to think about reinforcements. Other than us, no other army will enter the imperial city. Old Duke Ling's words instantly made Emperor Tianyu's face turn ashen. The Lanyue family. It was actually the Lanyue family. Their aristocratic family had made a move. How is this possible? He exclaimed. The Lanyue family has a special status and will never interfere in the affairs of the empire or help Duke Ling's mansion to usurp the throne against the royal family of Tianyu. There must be some misunderstanding. Ha! Old Duke Ling laughed heartily. Your Majesty, don't you know? It was evil Dr. Ghost I who asked the Lanyue family to take action and cut off all of your royal family's paths of survival. I'm also very curious. Just what did you do to make that evil Dr. Ghost Eye, who is at the pinnacle of the Black Field and even the entire true Spill continent, swear that he won't rest until he exterminates your royal family? Evil Dr. Ghost Eyes. Emperor Tianyu's mind buzzed when he heard these words. It was her, Luo Qingtong. It was actually her. Did she know what they did to the Luo family? So she came to take revenge. While Emperor Tianyu was still in a daze, Wang, in the sky, a series of buzzing sounds could be heard. Chapter 577. It was a gigantic spiritual airship, flying over the imperial city of the Tianyu Empire, as if no one was there. The forbidden space array that enveloped the imperial capital had no effect on this flying ship at all. Earth-level flying ship. This huge object that was flying towards them was an Earth-grade spirit ship. In the true Spill continent, this was something that only the direct descendants of the major factions of the Holy Dynasty or above could use. Even the powerhouses of the Empire of Qin's Holy Dynasty couldn't have it. Such a flying ship actually appeared in the imperial city of Tianyu Empire at this moment. Almost instantly, everyone's attention was drawn to the Earth-grade spaceship. No one knew who would appear here at this time. Rumble. As the Earth-level flying ship appeared here without any concealment, Tianyu Emperor's eyes widened. He suddenly thought of a name and looked at the spaceship with an indescribable fear. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye. It was Luo Qingtong. It must be Luo Qingtong. Old Duke Ling also thought of this. He immediately ordered people to calm the restless army and went to greet the Earth-level flying ship. Is the one on the flying ship evil Dr. Ghost Eye? He shouted from below. I am Duke Ling Lingfeng. I respectfully invite evil Dr. Ghost Eye to appear. Old Duke Ling's voice was very excited. He didn't think that he would be able to receive such an opportunity in his old age. When Ling Tianhan contacted him and said that evil Dr. Ghost I wanted to destroy the imperial family of Tianyu Empire and replace them with the Ling family, he thought he was dreaming. But then his grandson sent him a message saying that evil Dr. Ghost I would cure his hand and would ask the Lanyue family to help. The Lanyue family. With that family helping, the matter of forcing the emperor to abdicate was almost a success. Old Duke Ling's heart had never been so calm. He was almost filled with joy as he spoke to the Earth-level flying ship. Following his voice, everyone in the imperial palace fixed their eyes on the door of the flying ship. In the next second, with a loud bang, the doors of the spirit ship opened and a figure stepped out. Luo Qingtong's red clothes fluttered in the wind, and her face was covered with a dark and cold Rakshasa mask. She looked like a bloodthirsty Azura from the boundless purgatory as she walked out of the cabin door of the flying ship. Behind her was a group of fully armed soldiers from the Luo family and the Evil Valley. Little Overlord Yuan, Sima Ju, Su Xiaoxiao, Ling Yu'er, and Ling Tianhan were by her side. Yu'er, Tianhan. Old Duke Ling's face was filled with indescribable joy when he saw his grandson and granddaughter disembarking from the spirit ship and following beside evil Dr. Gui Tong. As expected, the relationship between his grandchildren and the evil Dr. Ghost was not ordinary. No wonder such a good thing like changing the dynasty would fall on their Ling family. Luo Qingtong's father, Luo Qingtong's family, Luo Qingtong's Luo family. The reason why the Ling family was chosen was probably because of his grandsons. Their Ling family really hit the jackpot this time. Thinking of this, old Duke Ling happily went up to the group of people. Evil Dr. Ghost he said respectfully as he stared at Luo Qingtong, who was at the front. Even if he had never seen evil Dr. Ghost before, he definitely wouldn't mistake her for someone else. Chapter 578. Emperor of Tianyu. Luo Qingtong mockingly looked at the majestic man in a dragon robe. Looking at his appearance, he already knew her identity. Knowing that she was the evil Dr. Ghost he still dared to send the betrothal gifts to the Luo clan. Tens of thousands of Mang Tiger Guards were sent to destroy her Luo clan, right? If she didn't get the news, the Luo clan would be trampled to the ground. Grandfather Luo would fall into the hands of these people and be used to blackmail her. Unfortunately, they didn't know what kind of a terrifying evil spirit she was. In her previous life, there were many forces that wanted to control her and make her work for them. But those people all died in the end. Emperor of Tianyu and the royal family were no exception. Luo. Seeing Luo Qingtong in front of him wearing a Luo Shan mask, Emperor of Tianyu's face was pale with fear. Since he already knew Luo Qingtong's identity, he naturally knew why she was here. But what's going on? Shouldn't Luo Qingtong be in the Tianyu Branch Academy? The latter opened the Kai Yuan secret realm, so Luo Qingtong should be there to gain experience. How could she appear here and know about their plan against the Luo clan? Emperor of Tianyu looked at Luo Qingtong with eyes full of shock. It's not that they didn't think of directly attacking Luo Qingtong, but she was in the Tianyu Branch Academy, and they couldn't find a chance to do so. What's more, they didn't want Luo Qingtong's identity to be known by everyone. After all, they wanted to control her in their hands, so the less they knew about her identity, the better. Therefore, they wanted to start with the Luo clan and use Luo Qingtong's betrayal of the royal engagement as an excuse to openly attack Luo Qingtong and control her in their hands. But how did this plan get exposed? Emperor of Tianyu dared to guarantee that other than the most important people in the royal family, no one else knew about their plan. They hid it so well, but Luo Qingtong still saw through it. What kind of girl was she? Looking at Luo Qingtong in front of him, Emperor Tianyu's heart was filled with regret and fear. He couldn't control his body and trembled violently. If he had known earlier, he would have treated Luo Qingtong and the Luo family better. If that was the case, the other party would have already become a helper of Tianyu's royal family. Evil Dr. Ghost Emperor Tianyu forced himself to remain calm as he looked at the demonic young man below. He originally wanted to call out Luo Qingtong's name, but he seemed to have thought of something and swallowed the words back down. This time, it's our fault. We were blinded by greed. But with the relationship between our families and Immerse's feelings for you. He looked at Luo Qingtong and said in a trembling voice, "If you let us go, we will drop this matter. Tianyu's royal family has nothing to do with you anymore. We won't reveal your identity to anyone else." What do you think? Emperor Tianyu's words were both a plea and a threat. The meaning of his words was very clear. He was willing to cancel the engagement between you and Mo and Luo Qingtong. He also promised not to reveal Luo Qingtong's identity as long as she let them go. He wouldn't reveal Luo Qingtong's identity. He was using this to threaten Luo Qingtong. If she didn't let them go, he would reveal Luo Qingtong's identity. He would expose her and the Luo family to the world. Chapter 579. Hearing his words, Luo Qingtong found it funny. "Are you threatening me?" She raised her Rakshasa mask and stared coldly at Emperor Tianyu with her crimson eyes. Luo Qingtong's lips curled up. "You can try and see if you can say anything about me." If she didn't want anyone to say anything, no one would be able to. Emperor Tianyu really didn't know the meaning of death by threatening her. No, they were already acting recklessly when they attacked her and the Luo clan. Luo Qingtong coldly looked at Emperor Tianyu. The latter was shocked when he heard her words. "You, Luo Qingtong." He wanted to call out Luo Qingtong's name, but he found that no matter how he opened his mouth, he could not say anything related to Luo Qingtong. Even the words Luo clan and the engagement were taboo. How is this possible? Emperor of Tianyu's eyes widened. He tried again and again in disbelief. After confirming that this was indeed the case, his expression changed. His legs went soft, and he almost fell to his knees. Emperor Tianyu shook off the eunuch who came to support him and looked down at Luo Qingtong with horror. "You, what did you do to me?" Not to him, but to everyone here. Luo Qingtong looked coldly at Emperor Tianyu, who was panicking above the imperial city. Since she was here, how could she give the Tianyu imperial family a chance to reveal her identity? Emperor Tianyu really underestimated her evil Dr. Ghost eyes. "Do it." Too lazy to talk nonsense with him, Luo Qingtong directly raised her right hand. His eyes were filled with bloodthirsty, killing intent as he looked at the huge and majestic imperial city. It made his pair of demonic blood-red eyes look incomparably beautiful. It was as if countless bloody colors were leaking out from that pair of eyes. The killing intent was awe-inspiring, cold, and resolute. "Kill everyone from the Tianyu imperial family. Kill." "No, pardon." Following Luo Qingtong's words, which were full of killing intent, the Luo clan's Iron Army and the Evil Valley's people behind her instantly moved. Old Duke Ling also gave the order to attack at this moment. However, looking at the slightly weaker strength of the Luo clan's Iron Army, his expression was a little strange. The strength of these people seemed to be a little weak. How could the people around His Excellency Evil Dr. Ghost I be so powerful? He hesitated, wondering if he should suggest to Luo Qingtong that the Luo family's Iron Army should not make a move, lest they be lost here for no reason. After all, their strength was far from the strength of the elites of the top aristocratic families of the empire. However, the moment old Duke Ling thought that, he was immediately slapped in the face. Bang, bang, bang. The Luo clan's Iron Army, holding the spiritual chi spears given by Luo Qingtong, were even more powerful than the elites of the Ling clan's Iron Army. Old Duke Ling stared at the strange weapons in the hands of the Luo clan's Iron Army, dumbfounded. They only needed a little strength to drive the weapons to turn the spiritual chi in the air into attacks, which was far beyond their own strength. What kind of weapons were these? Why had he never seen them before? Could it be that His Excellency Evil Dr. Ghost I was not only an alchemist with amazing medical skills, but also a blacksmith? As old Duke Ling was thinking, his hand that was stroking his beard couldn't help but pull out a handful of his beard. It was so painful that he almost cried. Chapter 580. A huge defensive array suddenly appeared above Tianyu Royal City, blocking all the attacks from the Luo and Ling armies. Buzz! Ripples spread out from the huge defensive array. The attacks of the Luo clan's Iron Army and the Ling clan's army were all absorbed by the defensive array. In the next second, a series of attacks suddenly shot out from the array formation. It was a similar array to the one Luo Qingtong had set up in the Luo family. It could absorb and reflect attacks. This was the array that the Tianyu royal family had set up over 1,000 years. It was the most important defense of Tianyu Royal City and also its last line of defense. It would not be activated unless it was a matter of life and death. Rumble. The array spun rapidly. Wave after wave of attacks instantly rushed towards the Ling army and the Luo family's Iron Army. At the same time, a few figures with powerful auras appeared beside the Emperor of Tianyu on the city walls. Humph! Evil physician Gui Tong. What an arrogant tone. You want to destroy the Tianyu royal family. These figures were the martial emperors of the Tianyu royal family. They still had injuries on their bodies, but their martial emperor's auras were enough to intimidate everyone. If you reveal your true identity as the evil physician ghost I, and ask for help from the Dark Domain or a group of celestial dynasties, we might be a little afraid of you. But you want to destroy the Tianyu royal family with just these people from the Ling family? What a joke. One of the martial emperors looked arrogant as he looked at Luo Qingtong with greed and malice. Luo Qingtong was too arrogant. She did not reveal her identity and came to the various forces to help. She probably did not want those forces to find out her whereabouts. She was stupid. Did she think that she could destroy the Tianyu royal family with just these people? Even if she asked the Wanyu family to help, they were blocking the Tianyu royal family's army outside the city. Before they arrived, they could capture Luo Qingtong. They would not dare to act rashly. Huh, Luo Qingtong, you're the one who brought it to me. The martial emperor-level powerhouse laughed heartily. In the next second, his figure flashed, and he appeared beside Luo Qingtong. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. His expression was cold and stern. His 5 fingers were like hooks as he instantly grabbed at Luo Qingtong's throat. After I capture you, let's see who else dares to go against our Tianyu royal family. This martial emperor-grade powerhouse had just entered the martial emperor realm. As he moved, an awe-inspiring aura shot towards Luo Qingtong to bind her. The space around the ladder began to condense. This was the power of a martial emperor in the union of heaven and man realm. Not only were they able to launch their own attacks, but they were also able to use their own attacks to manipulate the surrounding spirit chi to restrict their opponent's movements. This was the so-called unity of man and nature. However, this martial emperor had been injured before and had not fully recovered yet. His attacks were much weaker than those of ordinary martial emperors who had just entered the martial emperor realm. The spirit chi surrounding Luo Qingtong was also not enough to restrict her movements. Seeing this martial emperor realm powerhouse attacking her, Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes. Chapter 581. Swish. Luo Qingtong raised her hand and waved. Heaven-conquering skill. Seize heaven's fortune. Following Luo Qingtong's shout, a beam of sword light suddenly flew out from the life and death 2 right sword in her hand. It flew towards the martial emperor expert, who suddenly opened his eyes wide. Bang! Under Luo Qingtong's pupil technique, the beam of sword light broke through the lingering spiritual chi of heaven and earth around the martial emperor expert as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. It broke through his defense and slashed into his body through the wound caused by Yi Qianxian. You! The martial emperor expert's eyes were filled with horror. Luo Qingtong's attack was too accurate. It directly hit his previous wound. More importantly, she was only at the intermediate martial king realm. However, with the help of that sword move, she was able to exert the strength of a martial emperor. Martial king realm. How old was Luo Qingtong? Furthermore, the sword move that she displayed was actually able to raise her attack power to such an extent. Just what level of martial skill was it? Sage realm, or even higher. She was only at the martial king realm, but she was able to use a sword move of the sage realm. How monstrous was Luo Qingtong? What kind of treasure did the royal family of Tianyu miss out on? Such a person should have been the daughter-in-law of the royal family of Tianyu. The newly advanced martial emperor widened his eyes and breathed his last with a remaining grievance. Plop! His body fell heavily to the ground. Third brother. Seeing the martial emperor expert die, The martial emperors on the city wall instantly changed their expressions. They looked at Luo Qingtong as if they were looking at a monster. An intermediate martial king realm expert killed a martial emperor expert. Even if third brother was injured, it was not the reason why Luo Qingtong could kill him. Monstrous. Too monstrous. They knew Luo Qingtong's identity very well. Others were shocked and in awe of the evil Dr. Ghost Eye's strength, but they were indescribably cold. Luo Qingtong was only 15 years old this year, right? The talent and strength she displayed had far surpassed the top geniuses of the sacred dynasties. Even the royal families of the four sacred dynasties could not cultivate a genius like Luo Qingtong. The talent and potential that Yuanma had displayed was nothing in front of Luo Qingtong. Not to mention that she was an alchemist with amazing medical skills. She was highly sought after. Such a Luo Qingtong was definitely a disaster to the royal family of Tianyu. She had to be eradicated at all costs. Previously, these people still wanted to imprison and control Luo Qingtong because of her identity as the evil Dr. Ghost Eye. But now, after witnessing her terrifying talent and strength, they no longer had such thoughts. This was a magnificent phoenix that was destined to soar into the 9 heavens. They could not control her at all. The best way would be to kill her before she matured. Otherwise, what awaited the royal family would be a disaster. The martial emperors were filled with unspeakable regret. If they had known that Luo Qingtong's talent and strength were so monstrous, they would not have thought of controlling her. They would have killed her at all costs. But it was not too late now. Thinking of this, the martial emperors looked at Luo Qingtong with eyes full of killing intent. Attack together. We can't let her leave alive. The oldest and most respected martial emperor of the royal family of Tianyu shouted sternly. Chapter 582. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. They were extremely fast. At this point in time, these martial emperors could no longer care about their own dignity. They couldn't care less about how shameless it was for a group of martial emperors to attack a junior like Luo Qingtong. In their opinion, Luo Qingtong's talent and ability were too demonic. No matter what price they had to pay, they had to keep such a demonic talent here. What was dignity? For the future of the Tianyu imperial family and their lives, it was not worth mentioning. Boss, seeing the group of martial emperors attacking Luo Qingtong, little Overlord Yuan and the others were shocked. The Luo family Iron Army and the people from Evil Valley were also shocked. Eldest Miss, Master, these people from the Tianyu imperial family were too shameless. No one expected that they would join forces to attack Luo Qingtong. A group of martial emperors attacking a junior of the intermediate martial king realm. How shameless were they? Grandpa, Ling Yuer stomped her feet and called Dukeling. Dukeling's mansion also had martial emperors, but they did not have as many martial emperors as the Tianyu imperial family. However, before they could do anything, the Tianyu imperial family attacked Luo Qingtong. Seeing the group of martial emperors rushing towards her, Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes. The blood-red light in his eyes was extremely intense. Luo Qingtong could dodge the attack of the 9-blade assassin, so it was impossible for the group of martial emperors to surround Luo Qingtong. Just as she was about to rush out of the gap in the encirclement of the group of people. Bang, bang, bang. The few martial grand emperors who were rushing towards Luo Qingtong suddenly seemed to have been attacked. One by one, they spat out blood and flew out. Boom! The group of people crashed heavily on the protective array above the Tianyu imperial city. The light on the defensive array trembled violently, and ripples spread across its surface. Suddenly, in the next second, the defensive formation exploded. Bang, bang, bang. A huge force exploded in all directions. In an instant, screams of agony could be heard in Sky Universe Royal City. Those from Tianyu's imperial family all fell to the ground screaming. In the blink of an eye, the group of elite Tiger Guard and Tianyu imperial family members surrounding the imperial city decreased by a whole circle. Emperor Tianyu was also thrown to the ground by the shockwaves. The berserk power exploded and pierced through his body. However, such intense pain didn't elicit any reaction from Emperor Tianyu. He just raised his head and looked at the group of people who suddenly appeared beside Luo Qingtong in shock. How dare you? Do you think you can humiliate the matriarch of Blackfield? Bei Qing and Feng Yu floated beside Luo Qingtong as they stared coldly in the direction of Tianyu Royal City. Mistress of the Blackfield. Emperor Tianyu almost couldn't breathe after hearing this and almost fainted on the spot. Luo Qingtong was the matriarch of the Blackfield. Didn't that mean that Mingzun of the Blackfield? That Mingzun was together with Luo Qingtong. Emperor Tianyu's body twitched violently as he looked in Luo Qingtong's direction with shock and despair. Who would have thought that this would be the outcome? If they had offended Luo Qingtong and evil Dr. Ghost Eye, they might have had a slim chance of survival. Chapter 583. It's over. It's over. Emperor Tianyu couldn't take it anymore. With a bang, he fell down from the city wall, smashing his head against the wall. His head was bleeding, and he was no longer breathing. Luo Qingtong didn't have time to pay attention to Bei Qing and Feng Yu's words. Her eyes were fixed on Tianyu Imperial City, which had lost its protection. Her eyes were bloodshot and filled with killing intent, making her look like an Azura from hell. Kill! She waved her hand and pointed her sword at Tianyu Imperial City. Leave no one alive from Tianyu's imperial family. If you don't remove the roots, they'll grow again. Tianyu's imperial family had persecuted her and the Luo clan time and time again. First they wanted to control her, then they wanted to kill her. A death grudge had already been formed. In this strange world where one could sacrifice everything for one's family, Luo Qingtong wouldn't leave any trouble for herself and the Luo clan. To be merciful to the enemy is to be cruel to oneself. If she hadn't seen through Tianyu's imperial family scheme, the Luo clan would be dead now. Dragons have reverse scales. Phoenixes have feathers. Touch and you'll die. The Luo clan and Old Master Luo were her only source of warmth in this strange world. Whoever touched them would die. Yes. Following Luo Qingtong's order, the entire Luo clan's army and Evil Valley's army moved. Seeing Luo Qingtong being surrounded by the martial emperors of Tianyu's imperial family, everyone's hearts were in their throats. Now that he saw that she was fine, his anger and murderous intent instantly ignited. How dare they lay their hands on the young miss? These Tianyu's imperial family members deserve to die. Duke Ling's men were also frightened by Luo Qingtong's dangerous situation. Hearing the order, they also rushed towards Tianyu Imperial City, especially those martial emperors of Duke Ling's mansion who didn't have time to act. They were filled with killing intent. If anything happened to evil Dr. Gui Tong in front of them, they wouldn't be able to bear the wrath of the Black Field. But at the same time, the group of people was also very puzzled. Evil Dr. Gui Tong was actually the matriarch of the Black Field. This isn't Sir Evil Physician a man? Everyone stole glances at Luo Qingtong's slender figure. That devilish figure, that peerlessly domineering aura, and that wanton demonic temperament. No matter how he looked at it, it didn't look like a woman. So, that Supreme Blackfield was actually a homosexual? The group was horrified by their own imaginations, but soon they felt relieved. If it was the evil Dr. Ghost Eye, then it was normal for the Supreme of the Blackfield to be a homosexual, because the other party was too monstrous, too dazzling. Rumble. As the group of people charged into Sky Universe Royal City, cries of agony could be heard everywhere. The people of Sky Universe Royal City resisted stubbornly. There were even people who cursed Luo Qingtong loudly. Luo Qingtong didn't pay any attention to them. She just coldly swept forward. Empress Tianyu's palace. Because they were in the inner court of the royal palace, the people here didn't know that Sky Universe Royal City had already been breached. At this moment, Empress Tianyu was talking to Yu Wenxue in her palace. Mother, is everything okay outside? Duke Ling's men won't attack, right? Yu Wenxue asked worriedly. Oomph. What do you think our Tianyu's imperial family is? Their Dukeling's men want to replace our Tianyu's imperial family? Dream on. Empress Tianyu's face was filled with mockery. Chapter 584. Humph. At this time, the Mang Tiger Guards should have already flattened the Luo family, right? Slowly picking up a fresh flower that a maid just picked from outside. The Empress of Tianyu's face is gloomy and cold. With a snap, she broke the flower branch and crumpled the blossoming flower into a ball. I really can't wait to see Luo Qingtong's face when she finds out that the Luo family has been destroyed and is in so much pain that she wants to die. When that old fart from the Luo family is captured, this empress will definitely properly entertain him. I will let him enjoy all the torture in this world, and then have Luo Qingtong personally witness it. Only then will I be able to dispel the hatred in my heart. This empress will torture her bit by bit. Let her live a life worse than death, to pay tribute to my Fei family's spirit in heaven. The Empress of Tianyu's voice is sharp, right? Yuan Xue is also filled with jealousy. We must properly torture her. Mother Empress, scratch her face first, then cripple her strength and let her live like a dog. Yuan Xue never thought that Luo Qingtong would actually be the evil Dr. Ghost Eye. When she came back from the Tianyu Branch Academy and heard this news, she didn't dare to believe it. Evil Dr. Ghost Eye. Thinking of the Kai Yuan secret realm, it was the other party who saved them. That monstrous talent and ability. Then thinking of how Luo Qingtong fought against Yi Qingqing's group and injured their entire team. Yuan Xue's heart is filled with jealousy. How can Luo Qingtong be the evil Dr. Ghost Eye? How can she be the evil Dr. Ghost Eye? That person that she can't even look up to? Luo Qingtong is only fit to be a dog at her feet. She can humiliate, beat, and scold her as she pleases. How can she become so dazzling? Yuan Xue can't accept it. But now, Imperial Father and Imperial Mother want to deal with her. In the end, Luo Qingtong can only be humiliated as she pleases. Thinking that she can trample the evil Dr. Ghost Eye under her feet, Yuan Xue's heart is filled with joy. But this joy doesn't last for long. It seems that the Empress and the 7th Princess miss me very much. Luo Qingtong kicked open the door of the bedroom with a bang. She'd overheard the conversation between the Tianyu Empress and Yuan Xue. Luo, why are you here? Seeing Luo Qingtong's disguise, Empress of Tianyu want to call out Luo Qingtong's name. However, she couldn't open her mouth. She looked at Luo Qingtong in shock, but the latter just looked at her with a cold smile. Of course I'm here to send you guys off and get something. However, I've changed my mind. The Empress of Tianyu and Yuan Xue had already planned out their future, so how could Luo Qingtong not help them? Luo Qingtong strode in front of Tianyu Empress and broke her hand without waiting for her to speak. Amidst the Empress's screams, Luo Qingtong pressed down on her broken hand and stamped a letter she'd prepared. Luo, what are you doing? The Empress of Tianyu's forehead is dripping with sweat, her face contorted in pain. Luo Qingtong put away the letter. Of course it's the annulment. How could Luo Qingtong let Tianyu's imperial family take over her engagement? With this annulment, Yuan Ma can't do anything even if he doesn't want to. She'll also take back the Luo family's token of marriage from Yuan Ma. Chapter 585. Whoosh. Luo Qingtong strode away. Just as Tianyu Empress and Yuan Xue heaved a sigh of relief. Thinking they'd escaped death, Luo Qingtong's voice came from outside. I'll leave the two of them to you. Did you hear what they said just now? Just do as they say. Don't miss a single word. Don't let them die too easily. Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. Yes. Tianyu Empress and Yuan Xue were horrified, not knowing who Luo Qingtong was talking to. At this moment, Bei Qing and Feng Yu's group appeared. They'd been following Luo Qingtong and protecting her in the dark. Naturally, they'd heard everything and looked at the Tianyu Empress and Yuan Xue with dangerous gazes. These two vicious women were truly vicious. However, They probably didn't expect that all of these vicious punishments would fall on them in the end. Blackfield's people, Tianyu Empress, and Yu Wenxue almost fainted when they saw the Blackfield uniforms on Bei Qing and Feng Yu's group. How could this be? Why were there Blackfield's people by Luo Qingtong's side? Didn't they say that Blackfield's people were looking for evil Dr. Ghost Eye everywhere, but to no avail? Otherwise, Tianyu's imperial family wouldn't have gotten the portrait of Luo Qingtong and learned that Luo Qingtong was evil Dr. Ghost Eye. But now, why were Blackfield's people by Luo Qingtong's side? Tianyu Empress was so shocked that she almost fainted. Yu Wenxue, on the other hand, was terrified. No, you can't do this to us. I'm the 7th princess of Tianyu's imperial family. My mother is the empress of Tianyu Empire. My brother is Yu Wenma, a disciple of the Saint Academy of the Empire of Qin, a sky grade student, a peerless genius. You can't do this to me, she screamed crazily. Our Tianyu imperial family also has connections in the Empire of Qin, and that one. As she spoke, she seemed to have grasped at a life-saving straw and desperately shouted, "The noble daughter of the great Yong dynasty's imperial family. Luo, if you dare to touch us, she will definitely not let you off. She admires my brother and wants to be with him. Luo, if it weren't for you holding on to the marriage agreement with my brother, he would have already been together with that noble lady. Who do you think you are? What evil Dr. Ghost Eye? They're nothing in front of her. It's you. You're the one who ruined our Tianyu royal family's advancement. If it wasn't for that, I would already be a princess of the great Yong dynasty. Tianyu's royal family strength will also rise. Why don't you go and die? Why don't you just die?" Yu Wenxue had completely lost her mind and crazily shouted, pushing all the blame onto Luo Qingtong. However, she completely forgot that from the beginning to the end, it was Yu Wenma who didn't agree to break off the engagement. It had nothing to do with Luo Qingtong and the Luo family. Shua. Hearing Yu Wenxue shouting, Luo Qingtong, who had already walked far away, suddenly appeared in front of her. Looking at the crazed Yu Wenxue in front of her, Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes and suddenly lifted her up by the neck. "Who is it?" Her voice was cold. "That noble daughter of the great Yong dynasty. Who is she?" Luo Qingtong had always been looking for the person hiding in the great Yong dynasty who had secretly harmed the original owner's eyes. She didn't expect Yu Wenxue to know. Chapter 586. She had thought that it was the other party who had approached Luo Xingning alone. Now it seemed that the royal family of Tianyu knew about it as well. The other party had attacked the original owner of the body because of UNMO? Was it a coincidence that the poison had blinded the original owner of the body, or had the other party done it on purpose? Was UNMO the reason for the other party to attack the original owner of the body, or was it true? Luo Qingtong felt that this matter was getting more and more interesting. "Tell me everything you know." Luo Qingtong's voice was cold. She had already ordered Bei Qing, Feng Yu, and the others. "Can you form a boundary to block the connection between this space and the outside world? Can you prevent others from sensing what is happening here from thousands of miles away?" With the experience of being silenced once, Luo Qingtong directly eliminated this possibility this time. She believed that with Bei Qing and Feng Yu's strength, they would definitely be able to do this. The people around that man were not ordinary people. "Sure, you can ask me anything you want." As soon as Luo Qingtong said that, Bei Qing, Feng Yu, and Feng Yu reacted immediately. Feng Yu nodded. Bei Qing and the others had already released their auras and isolated the space around Luo Qingtong. Under their auras, no one could detect what was happening in the space unless they were above the Saint Realm. Even if there was a boundary, it could not be touched. Looking at their actions, Luo Qingtong threw Yu Wenxue on the ground. She pulled a chair and sat in front of her. She said coldly, "Speak. Who is she?" "Luo Qingtong, are you scared?" Yu Wenxue did not notice what Luo Qingtong said to Bei Qing and Feng Yu. She did not know that Bei Qing and Feng Yu were the bodyguards of Mingzun in the Blackfield. At this moment, she looked at Luo Qingtong and laughed maniacally. That is Princess Feng Yuan of the Great Yong Dynasty. The first princess of the Great Yong Dynasty. The first noble lady and the first genius. Princess Feng Yuan reached the martial king realm at the age of 16. Now she has surpassed the martial emperor realm and entered the martial spirit realm. I heard that she will soon reach the martial grandmaster realm. At that time, she will be only one step away from the saint realm. She is ranked first in the Young Phoenix list of the 4 sacred academies. Luo Qingtong, the difference between you and her is like heaven and earth. That evil Dr. Ghost Eye of yours can only scare others. You are nothing in front of her. Yuan Xue became more and more. If Luo Qingtong hadn't taken over the engagement with her royal brother and made him insist on not breaking off the engagement, Princess Feng Yuan might have been together with her royal brother long ago. Princess Feng Yuan was a proud daughter of the heavens. How could she be involved with a man who was already engaged? It was all Luo Qingtong's fault. Yuan Xue's heart was filled with resentment. She did not care about her current situation. She looked at Luo Qingtong with eyes that were filled with poison. Luo Qingtong did not bother to pay attention to her. Yuan Xue was arrogant and did not know much about the outside world. She was like a frog at the bottom of a well. In her opinion, Luo Qingtong's evil Dr. Ghost Eye's identity could only be flaunted outside of the 4 sacred dynasties. She did not know that Luo Qingtong's identity was something that even the major powers of the 4 sacred dynasties wanted to investigate. The 4 sacred dynasties did not lack alchemists. But for someone like Luo Qingtong, who could refine elixirs at such a young age that were comparable to those reclusive elders, there was no one else. As for cultivation, Luo Qingtong was already a mid-level martial king at the age of 15. Chapter 587. The Blackfield people looked at Yuan Xue as if they were looking at an idiot. They wondered where she had come from when she said that Luo Qingtong and Princess Feng Yuan were as different as clouds and mud. Did she really think that just anyone was worthy of the Blackfield's protection? Even if their lord didn't fall in love with the evil doctor, the latter couldn't be humiliated. Luo Qingtong deserved the Blackfield's careful treatment. If that Princess Feng Yuan wanted to trample the evil doctor to the bottom of the mud, she was probably not qualified. All right, I'm done asking. You can deal with the rest. Luo Qingtong couldn't be bothered to look at Yuan Xue. She got up and left. Seeing her leaving figure, Yuan Xue struggled to stand up and shouted at Luo Qingtong. Luo Qingtong, didn't you hear what I said? Princess Feng Yuan is so powerful and has fallen in love with my royal brother. If she knew what you did to us, she wouldn't let you and the Luo family off. Stop. Stop right there. Come back. She hysterically shouted at Luo Qingtong's leaving figure. Her expression was crazed to the extreme. Yuan Xue was very scared. She knew in her heart how vicious the punishment she had just mentioned to Luo Qingtong was. She didn't want to end up in that situation. Luo Qingtong must be scared. She was just holding on. She would soon turn around and let go of her. However, no matter how she shouted, Luo Qingtong didn't turn around. She just left. From the looks of it, he didn't take her words seriously at all. Yuan Xue's expression stiffened. At this moment, a Blackfield person spoke. I really don't know where your confidence comes from. Her Excellency the Evil Doctor is someone our Lord loves. Her strength has already reached the mid-level Martial King realm. Within a year, he went from the Martial Master realm to the Martial King realm. No one can compare to him. That Princess Feng Yuan is the #1 genius of the Great Yong Dynasty, #1 on the Young Phoenix list of the 4 great sacred academies. Don't worry, it won't be for long. It was more than enough for the evil doctor to enter the sacred academy of the Empire of Qin. At that time, it would be hard to say who would be the real #1 on the Young Phoenix leaderboard. Hearing the Blackfield member's words, Yuan Xue's face was completely lifeless. She stared blankly at the man from the Blackfield, his words echoing in her mind. Luo Qingtong was the girl that their lord had fallen in love with. She was a mid-level martial king. How old was Luo Qingtong? 15 years old? Huh. Yuan Shui's voice trembled as she laughed. His laughter sounded like he was crying, and his expression was unbelievably twisted. Or the Black Field? Isn't that the Black Field underworld venerable? No matter how ignorant Yuan Shui was, it was impossible for her not to have heard of his name. Luo Qingtong was actually the girl that the Black Field underworld venerable had fallen in love with. How could this be? How could this be? However, Yuan Shui had no choice but to believe the Black Field member's words. She thought about how she had used her status as Princess Fengwan to pressure Luo Qingtong. How could her status be compared to the Black Field underworld venerable? They weren't even on the same level. The difference between the clouds and mud. Who was the clouds and who was the mud? At this time, the fainted Empress of Tianyu slowly regained consciousness. Her body began to tremble violently when she heard the words of the man from the dark domain. In the next second, her eyes rolled back, white foam came out of her mouth, and she fainted again. Before she lost consciousness, her heart was filled with regret. Chapter 588. The Blackfield's Mingzun. With the Blackfield's Mingzun, she and Yu Wenxue couldn't die, even if they wanted to. They could only taste the vicious punishment she had just uttered. That was definitely something more terrifying than death. Just as the Tianyu Empress fainted, Luo Qingtong had already flown out of the Tianyu Imperial Palace and returned to the Luo family on the spirit ship. She didn't need to worry about the Tianyu Empire anymore. The Ling family wanted to replace the Tianyu Imperial family, so they would take care of everything. Otherwise, why would she ask them to come? When they returned to the Luo family, the sky was already dark. After eating something, Luo Qingtong used the Ming Zunai technique to draw what she saw after turning back time. She handed it to the Blackfield's people and asked them to investigate. She turned around and went back to her room. Without even turning on the light, she lay down on the bed and fell into a deep sleep. She was too tired. The battle in the Kaiyuan secret realm and the drawing of the inscription of space were extremely exhausting. After coming out of the Kaiyuan secret realm, she received the news and hurried back to the Luo family. She didn't even rest. After this round of battle, his entire body's essence, energy, and spirit were almost exhausted. After returning home and finishing her business, she directly lay down. When she was lying on the bed, Luo Qingtong was still thinking in a daze, as if she had forgotten something. But she was so tired that her brain couldn't work at all. She fell asleep just like that. In the dimly lit room, Yi Qianxian lay on Luo Qingtong's bed, his whole body stiff. Beside him was the girl's warm and soft body. It was exactly the same feeling as in his memory. This woman fell asleep as soon as she came back. Yi Qianren didn't even have the time to open her mouth when she saw her fall onto her body. That movement didn't even pause for a moment. He even raised his hand to support her, but this woman didn't feel anything. Looking at the face of the young girl sleeping in front of her, Yi Qianren didn't know why, but she felt her body heating up. He looked at the girl's sweet, sleepy eyes. That pair of eyes that were always evil and crafty were now tightly shut. Her nose was small and delicate, and her cherry lips were slightly pursed. She looked indescribably obedient. A strand of hair hung down from her temples and landed on the girl's lips. Yi Qianxian's eyes lit up when he saw the bright red lips under her black hair. He suddenly remembered the soft touch he felt on his lips when he was beside Luo Qingtong. He couldn't help but lean down. Just as he was getting closer and closer to Luo Qingtong, getting closer and closer to the girl's pink, petal-like lips, suddenly schwa. A pink figure instantly sprang out from Luo Qingtong's sleeve. I didn't see anything. He didn't see anything. Go on. Little Pig covered his eyes with his 2 pig hooves and dashed away at lightning speed. Oh my God! This woman didn't check if there was someone beside her when she fell down. Seeing this man secretly kiss her, I wonder if I'll be made into a roasted suckling pig. Little Pig ran away with a swoosh and disappeared in the blink of an eye. That speed had broken through the limit. I'm afraid I'll be killed by Yi Qianxian if I'm not careful. That will be such an unjust death. Yi Qianqian's face turned ashen when he saw Little Pig's departing figure. Chapter 589. The two looked into each other's eyes. Yi Qianqian's body stiffened all of a sudden. His body was still bent over slightly, and he was about to kiss her. His thin and sexy lips were only a few millimeters away from Luo Qingtong's pink lips. As long as Luo Qingtong or Yi Qianxian moved slightly, their lips would touch. Yi Qianxian's face was indescribably stiff when he was caught trying to steal a kiss. At this moment, Luo Qingtong opened her eyes and looked at him. She blinked her eyes and looked at him for a while. Then, she raised her hand, hugged his neck, and kissed him on the lips. Yi Qianxian. She looked at the man in front of her with misty eyes. Be good. I'm so sleepy. Don't mess around. Luo Qingtong was very sleepy at this moment. She was still half asleep. When Yi Qianxian faced Little Pig earlier, the cold aura around him triggered the alarm in her heart, and she was pulled out of her deep sleep. But after seeing Yi Qianxian's face, the alarm in her heart was lifted. During this period of time, Luo Qingtong had gotten used to sleeping with Yi Qianxian on the same bed as Little Mingzun. Now that she suddenly saw his face, Luo Qingtong, who had completely forgotten that Yi Qianxian was looking for her, subconsciously thought that Yi Qianxian was Little Mingzun. Although she was a little curious about how Little Mingzun recovered so quickly, Luo Qingtong was extremely sleepy, and her brain had stopped working. She didn't have the energy to think about this at all. She just hugged the man's neck, yawned, and leaned into the man's arms. Go to sleep, she said, and habitually kissed Yi Qianxian again, although it was weird for a man to change back to his normal size. However, Luo Qingtong hadn't woken up yet, so she didn't notice this problem. In an instant, Yi Qianxian's eyes turned dangerous. His gaze was deep as he looked at the half-asleep and half-awake young girl who was as delicate and enchanting as a cat. With a flip of his body, he pressed her under his body. Sleep. His voice was deep and hoarse. Luo Qi, are you trying to seduce me? This time, Luo Qingtong sobered up. Oh my God. She glared at the man on top of her. Yi Qianxian's slender figure contained great strength. His muscles were warm and elastic. When they were pressed against her body, she felt a burning sensation. This time, Luo Qingtong's eyes widened in an instant. Ha, my lord. Hello, Luo Qingtong was just about to say, what a coincidence, when she realized that this was a must-have line when she saw Yi Qianxian, but it didn't seem right to use it at this moment. Immediately, she changed her line. Ha, what a surprise. She laughed dryly. Really? That's what I think too. Yi Qianren looked at her deeply. The light in her eyes was getting brighter and brighter. The two kisses just now were indeed very surprising, and they were very sweet. I'll grant your request. Oh my God, this was a complete misunderstanding. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched. She thought that Yi Qianxian's main body was Little Mingzun. Luo Qingtong could tease Little Mingzun as much as she wanted without any psychological burden. Little Mingzun's power was restricted by her. However, it was different when facing Yi Qianxian's main body. Seeing the man's body pressing down on her and his eyes burning, Luo Qingtong was shocked and subconsciously wanted to step back. Chapter 590. Luo Qingtong raised her head. Before she could say wait, Yi Qianxian had already grabbed her shoulders and kissed her. The girl's lips were slightly parted when she opened her mouth, giving Yi Qianren the opportunity to enter. The man's lips and tongue flashed into her mouth, attacking her. Luo Qingtong's eyes widened slightly, and the 5 fingers that were grabbing onto Yi Qianxian's clothes suddenly tightened. In the next second, she suddenly raised her leg and bumped into Yi Qianxian. The man was immersed in this kiss. Seeing this, he quickly raised his hand to block, and at the moment when the strength in his body was about to burst out, when he thought of the little woman in his arms, he instantly forcibly retracted that burst of power. This pause instantly gave Luo Qingtong the opportunity to break free. A bloody light flashed in her eyes, and her body twisted and turned like a snake, immediately breaking free from the man's embrace. Whoosh! Her figure quickly retreated, and in an instant, she broke free from Yi Qianxian's embrace. Luo Qi. Seeing Luo Qingtong break free from his restraint, Yi Qianxian gritted his teeth. This woman, she's relying on the fact that I can't bear to hurt her. Otherwise, how could she have the chance to escape from my hands? Yi Qianxian felt a burst of depression in his heart. He sat up and stretched out his hand to Luo Qingtong. Come here. He narrowed his eyes slightly. This sovereign won't touch you today. This woman, if she hadn't provoked me, I wouldn't have lost control just now. Great. Now she's running away after lighting a fire. I still have to worry that she'll run far away and I won't be able to find her. This woman, she's the only one who can make me suffer like this. Yi Qianxian, you like me? Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed slightly as she looked at him. Yi Qianxian didn't know why, but he suddenly felt that Luo Qingtong's gaze seemed to contain many things. It's you who likes me. He coldly snorted. At this moment, the aloof and ruthless man had an inexplicable sense of pride and arrogance. I'm just giving you a chance. What did he mean by he liked her? She was the one who liked him first, so he allowed her to be the exception. This woman was used to distorting the truth, and even liked to say one thing and mean another. Luo Qingtong looked at his cold expression that was the same as little Ming Zun's arrogant expression, and the light in her eyes became brighter. Do you really like me? Do you know what will happen if I fall in love with you? The man she fell in love with would either love her or die. Luo Qingtong was not easily moved, but once she was moved, she would never allow betrayal. However, Yi Qianxian was a man whom she could neither control nor provoke. What would she do if he had a change of heart? Luo Qingtong did not dare to gamble. After so many years of being in the 24th century, she had only retreated in front of Yi Qianxian. If that was not the case, why would she avoid him again and again? Could she really not see that this man was lenient and protective of her? If she didn't have the same thoughts as him, and this man wanted to catch her again and again, according to her temperament, she would have already taken the initiative and seized the opportunity to kill him. But she had never thought of it like this. I don't need to know. Yi Qianxian squinted at her and flicked his sleeves. I only need to know that I won't let that result happen. Come here. He reached out his hand to Luo Qingtong. Yi Qianxian, I gave you a chance. Luo Qingtong's eyes flashed with blood. Yi Qianxian didn't say anything and just reached out his hand to her. Chapter 591. Luo Qingtong jumped up and rushed to Yi Qianxian. She ignored the man's outstretched hand and looked at Yi Qianxian. She pushed him onto the bed and sat on top of him. Luo Qi. Looking at her actions, the veins on Yi Qianxian's forehead bulged. He was about to get up. Suddenly, Luo Qingtong bent down and pouted her lips. She whispered in his ear, "Don't move. I'm injured. It's not good if I get injured again." The moment her words came out, Yi Qian's movements instantly froze. You're injured? He looked at the girl who was sitting on top of him. He didn't care about her rebellious behavior. He turned his palm and held her wrist. He transferred his qi into her. Luo Qingtong looked at his actions with a smile. Her lips curled up even more. I'm fine. I just broke through too quickly and hurt my meridians. I'll be fine after a few days of rest. In the Kaiyuan Mystery Land, little Ming Zun disappeared. Luo Qingtong couldn't control her anger and broke through to the Martial King realm. Although she had the Yang Soul Soul Stone and Yang Soul Royal Stone from the Yin Yang Soul Mountain to assist her, in the end, she had been unable to hold back her anger. She had used the 1,000-year soul guiding wood to absorb and transform too much Yin Soul energy, nearly causing her meridians to explode. She had severely injured the Dead Soul King with one strike. That would leave a hidden danger in her meridians. When she came back, she didn't rest. After killing the martial Grand Emperor expert of the Tianyu royal family, Luo Qingtong felt that her meridians were torn apart. However, this level of injury wasn't difficult for Luo Qingtong to heal. She was just too tired. Otherwise, she would have healed her meridians when she came back. She would be fine if she didn't use her qi. Yi Qianxian probed her body with his qi. He found that she wasn't lying. His face turned cold. Who did it? When did this happen? Damn it. He should have followed her to the Tianyu Empire. He shouldn't have stayed in the Luo family just to argue with this woman. Otherwise, how could she be injured? Bei Qing and Feng, you were too weak in protecting him. Bei Qing, Feng Yu, and the others would be crying if they knew that they had become the scapegoat for no reason at all. Your meridians were injured, yet you still dared to attack me. Yi Qianxian looked at Luo Qingtong coldly. Although he was being suppressed by her, he was very unhappy. However, considering this woman's temperament, he continued to let her press down on his body. This woman was really bold. If it wasn't for him retracting his hand quickly and restraining the power in his body so as not to hurt her, he was afraid that when she struggled out of his embrace, her injuries would have worsened. Why can't you behave yourself? Which woman was like her? Can't you just let me hug you? No. Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and looked at him innocently. I'm very obedient. Otherwise, how could she appear here? She would have run away. How could she let this man catch her? Yi Qianxian looked at her, sitting on his body with a dark face. How could this be called obedient? Who on earth hurt you? He frowned and said, and get off me. No. Luo Qingtong looked at him. Suddenly, she bent down and bit his lips. Hiss. Chapter 592. In the dimly lit room, the curtains fluttered, and the bed was carved with flowers. The tall man was pressed down on the bed by the petite girl. Their surroundings were filled with an ambiguous atmosphere. Luo Qingtong's hair fell from the top of her head, covering the surrounding space with a swoosh. It blocked her movements of leaning over to kiss the man. In the floating fragrance, only their breaths were intertwined. Rising and falling, the floating colors glowed, and the dark colors gave off a fragrance. After the kiss, Luo Qingtong licked her lips and got up. Her clear eyes, which were misty with blood mist, had now turned blood red. It made her look like a demon that appeared in the dark night and specialized in sucking people's essence. She was beautiful and alluring, and her beauty could topple cities. Luo Qingtong's eyes were filled with the color of spring, and her cheeks were crimson. Her eyes sparkled as she stared at the man breathing heavily beneath her. She stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. The smile on her face was indescribably evil and wanton. Lord, the taste is not bad. Looking at her movements, Yi Qianxian's gaze was dangerous. Every inch of his gaze was filled with aggression. His entire body was burning hot, and his breathing was unbearably heavy. This woman, she was the one who seduced him. Then don't blame him for not being able to control himself. However, just as Yi Qianxian was about to move, Luo Qingtong's body softly fell onto him. The girl's breathing was steady, and her face was sweet. She had actually fallen asleep on top of him. Luo Qingtong was really too tired. She was forcefully pulled out of her sleep by Yi Qianxian and had a round of confrontation with him. Now, she was completely exhausted. Do whatever you want. She didn't believe that this man could do anything to her in this state. With this thought in mind, Luo Qingtong directly relaxed her mind and collapsed on Yi Qianxian's body. The man froze. This woman, she actually fell asleep just like that? After seducing him like this? Yi Qianxian's body was boiling with anger. The veins on his forehead were bursting. This woman was born to be his nemesis. Yi Qianren gritted his teeth as he thought. His face darkened as he looked at the sweet, sleeping face of the young girl lying on top of him. In the end, he suppressed the boiling anger in his body. I'll let you off this time. Sooner or later, I'll make you pay me back with interest. As he said this, he carefully wrapped his arms around the girl's waist and adjusted his position so that she could sleep more comfortably in his arms. He even channeled his own aura into Luo Qingtong's body, nourishing and protecting her damaged meridians. This woman really doesn't know how to cherish herself. Yi Qianxian snorted coldly. Then, he hugged the girl and fell asleep as well. When Luo Qingtong woke up, it was already early the next morning. Yi Qianxian was nowhere to be seen. She had no idea where he had gone. Luo Qingtong heaved a sigh of relief and then busied herself. After the imperial family of Tianyu was destroyed, there were still many things to deal with in the Luo family. Now that old Master Luo was missing, these things fell on Luo Qingtong's shoulders. At the thought of old Master Luo's disappearance, Luo Qingtong's eyes turned cold. Otherwise, she wouldn't have destroyed the imperial family of Tianyu so quickly. She had planned to wait until her meridians were in better condition before going. But in the end, she couldn't resist. But after checking her body, Luo Qingtong found that her meridians were much better. It seemed that someone had used his power to nourish her body. Was it Yi Qianxian? Thinking of the man who appeared in her room last night, Luo Qingtong's heart warmed slightly. At this moment, Yi Qianxian was on the Atlas flying boat, looking at the person in front of him coldly. Chapter 593. What's wrong? Can't I come? Elder Yu, who had rushed over from the main city of the Black region, stroked his beard and glared at him, his face covered in dust. You little Yi, the child is already 3 months old, and you didn't even mention it. Quick, take me to see your precious little wife. While we're at it, let's go see that child. Yuelao rubbed his palms together. This was Ye's first child. He didn't know if the child had inherited his heaven-defying constitution. If he did, it would be another peerless genius. How could he miss it? Child. Yi Qianxian raised his eyebrows. What child? As soon as he said this, Bei Qing and Feng Yu, who were standing behind him, lowered their heads. It was all their fault. Previously, when he heard that the evil doctor was pregnant, he was so happy that he immediately sent the news back to the main city of the Black region and told Elder Yu that he wanted him to come over and see if there was anything wrong with the little master, who knew that this was a plot by the imperial family of Tianyu against the Luo family. When they found out the truth, their faces turned green. They wanted to send another message back to explain that it was a misunderstanding, but they were sent to protect the evil doctor and forgot about it. Only when they saw Yuelao, who had rushed over from the Black Field, did they realize that things had gone wrong. After clarifying that it was a misunderstanding between the two of them, and that there was no such child at all, the excitement on Elder Yu's face immediately disappeared. You two idiots! How could you make such a mistake? He stomped his feet on the Atlas flying boat. Seeing his actions, Yi Qianxian frowned. He looked at Yuelao and suddenly asked, Did you send the news back? As soon as he said this, Yuelao's stomping figure froze. Ha ha! Elder Yu laughed dryly as he looked at Yi Qianren. That actually, Yi, you know, I get excited easily when I hear good news. When I get excited, it was easy to make mistakes. So, Yi Qianxian looked at him coldly. You did send the news back. Cough, cough. Actually, I just told the Heavenly Empress. Yuelao looked at him guiltily. Of course, that it's very likely that other people also know. Heavens! How did he know that the news sent back by Bei Qing and Feng Yu was fake? These two little bastards had really screwed him over miserably. Yuelao tugged at his beard, frowning. He originally wanted to help Yi Qianxian show off and make the Heavenly Empress happy. Now that he made such a big mistake, the Heavenly Empress's side. God knows, he only did it out of kindness. Yi Qianren looked at him with a cold face. Then, he flicked his sleeves and ordered coldly, Seal off all news here immediately. Also, send someone to keep a close watch on that side. If there are any unusual movements, inform me immediately. The Heavenly Empress, the Heavenly Empress. For so many years, Yi Qianren had never thought of fighting for those things. He didn't care about those things. But if those people touched Luo Qingtong because of this, the coldness in Yi Qianxian's eyes was so cold that it seemed to flow. That woman was now his one and only reverse scale that couldn't be touched. Chapter 594. It was the scene of Prince De's explosion. It was obvious that a phoenix tattoo appeared on Elder Luo's forehead as he faced the danger of self-detonation. The golden phoenix flew out of Old Man Luo's body and circled around him. In an instant, the latter's figure disappeared from the spot. Where did this flying phoenix come from? Luo Qingtong guessed that this phoenix must have something to do with Master Luo's disappearance. Its sudden appearance was not a coincidence. It was because old Master Luo was in danger that the flying phoenix suddenly appeared and took him away. But that phoenix was obviously not a contract beast. What was it? Luo Qingtong frowned as she looked at the portrait in her hand. She drew two of the same portrait and gave the other one to the people of the Black Field to investigate. Presumably, there would be results soon. Luo Qingtong let out a long breath. Since the flying phoenix was here to save the old master, the place it was sending him to should be safe. However, Luo Qingtong could not be at ease until she found Master Luo's whereabouts. He was her first relative in this strange world. Master Luo's position in Luo Qingtong's heart was irreplaceable. Just like the old beggar who picked up Luo Qingtong in the 24th century and raised her. Luo Qingtong's feelings for Master Luo were very special. Seeing that she was willing to restrain the evil in her bones for Master Luo, she knew how important Master Luo was. Just as Luo Qingtong was about to put away the painting, a voice suddenly sounded. Isn't this the unique mark of the old woman of the great Chu sacred dynasty? Little girl, why do you have it? Luo Qingtong turned her head and saw Elder Yu stroking his beard as he walked in from outside. Haha, little girl, don't be afraid. I'm from the Black Field, and I'm Ye's personal alchemist. You know what's wrong with his body, right? I'm the one in charge of the treatment. Seeing Luo Qingtong's face full of vigilance, Yuelao coughed lightly and said with a chuckle. He had taken advantage of Yi Qianqian's absence to come over. The latter was busy dealing with the mess he had made. Elder Yu was also a little guilty, so he quietly came to see Luo Qingtong. Otherwise, if Yi Qianxian were to find out, he would definitely not allow him to come and watch. But she really wasn't pregnant. Yuelao looked at Luo Qingtong's belly with regret. Looking at her face, he knew that Luo Qingtong was still a virgin. Little brat, Yi was really too useless. He had been chasing her for so long. This was the result. She had thought that he had eaten all of them, so he was in a hurry to find them. A dignified underworld venerable was so useless. Could he be blamed for passing on the wrong information? Elder Yu muttered in his heart. Luo Qingtong didn't know what he was thinking, but focused on what he had said before. You're from the Black Field? You know the origin of this flying phoenix mark. She looked at Elder Yu with bright eyes. Yes, this flying phoenix mark came from someone in the royal family of the great Chu sacred dynasty. This is her unique mark. Very few people outside know about it. How do you have her mark pattern? Elder Yu looked at the picture scroll in her hand. He was not surprised by this mark, but with Luo Qingtong's identity, it was reasonable to say that she could not come into contact with that person of the great Chu sacred dynasty. How could she know the other party's unique mark? One had to know that the identity of that person was really not ordinary. Although he did not pay attention to it, to others, it was very noble. How could such a person be related to the Luo family? Chapter 595. The Royal Family of the Chu Sacred Dynasty. Luo Qingtong narrowed her eyes. She had encountered a lot of strange things in the past few days. First, there was Princess Feng Wan of the Great Yong Sacred Dynasty who came to find trouble with her. Now, there was someone from the royal family of the Chu Sacred Dynasty who took her grandfather away. How did these people of noble status come into contact with the Luo family one after another? Princess Feng Wan aside, after all, she was attracted by Yuanma. But what was going on with this person from the royal family of the Chu Sacred Dynasty? She had never heard grandfather Luo mention such a person. Luo Qingtong frowned. Who is that person? Please tell me. Luo Qingtong looked at Elder Yu. The latter smiled and rubbed his hands. He looked at Luo Qingtong and was about to speak. Behind him, a cold voice suddenly sounded. That is Empress Dowager Yin Shi of the Great Chu. As they spoke, Yi Qianxian came in with a cold face. Cough, cough. Boy, you're back so quickly. Elder Yu coughed and looked at the sky. The people of the Black Field behind Yi Qianxian all looked at him speechlessly. Why was the High Lord so busy? It was all this old man's fault. Why did he send the news back? He didn't know if they would send people over, and he didn't know what they would do. Master was so busy to protect the evil doctor. Elder Yu took the opportunity to secretly come to see the evil doctor. Master was busy halfway, but he rushed over when he heard the news. This old man was just adding to the chaos. I thought you knew. Yi Qianxian looked at him coldly with a warning. Don't say anything to this woman. He didn't want this woman to know about what happened over there. It would be too much of a burden for her. Yi Qianxian found Luo Qingtong. This woman ran like a rabbit, but when it came to love, she was like a snail. Yi Qianxian did not want her to shrink back into her shell again. Cough, cough. Yi Qianxian's words choked Elder Yu quite a bit. Other than nodding his head, how could he dare to say anything else? Brat Yi was still in a fit of anger. What if he was sent back to the Medicine God Valley sect? Thinking of those people who were still persistently looking for him, Elder Yu instantly quivered and immediately pounded his head like garlic. Don't worry. He wouldn't say a single extra word about what happened over there. Oomph. Seeing his actions, Yi Qianxian snorted coldly. Then he stared at Luo Qingtong. That flying phoenix mark is the unique mark of the great Chu's Empress Dowager Yin Shi. Very few people outside know about this. This noble one used the information network of the 36 Dao palaces in the Black Field to investigate. That person might have some sort of relationship with your grandfather. 40 years ago, Empress Dowager Yinshi of Great Chu met with danger outside. She was saved by the sacred emperor of Great Chu and entered the palace. She was not a member of the sacred emperor of Great Chu, and that flying phoenix mark appeared on your grandfather's body. It means that they are connected in life and death. Their lives and souls are connected. Because of this, when Elder Luo was in danger, that flying phoenix quickly flew out and teleported him away. Yi Qianxian had felt the spatial fluctuations before and wanted to tell Luo Qingtong. But this woman left in a hurry and didn't have time to tell her. Chapter 596. Yes. Luo Qingtong nodded. Yi Qianxian also said so, then it was not wrong. But Empress Dowager Yin Shi of Great Chu, his status was not just any ordinary noble. It was no wonder that the old man had such a strange expression on his face. However, this old man was not an ordinary person since he could recognize the unique mark of Empress Dowager Yin Shi of Great Chu. Luo Qingtong thought that he was Yi Qianxian's exclusive alchemist and immediately raised her eyebrows. He was the one who treated Yi Qianxian's meridians these years. Then he must be very familiar with the condition of his meridians? Thinking of this, Luo Qingtong raised her eyebrows and looked at Elder Yu. This old man came from afar. Why don't you stay and have a cup of tea? I also have something to ask the old man. Okay. Haha, I also happen to have something to discuss with a little girl like you. Elder Yu chuckled. He was afraid that Yi Qianming would call him away. Now that this little girl asked him to stay, that brat would not say anything, right? Thinking of this, he glanced at Yi Qianming proudly. The latter was too lazy to pay attention to him. He still had to deal with the things over there, as long as Elder Yu did not talk nonsense about it. As for why Luo Qingtong was looking for Elder Yu, Yi Qianming had already thought of it. This woman was looking for his injuries, right? Thinking that this woman was thinking about him, Yi Qianming's mood was indescribably good. His gaze towards Elder Yu softened a lot. Wait for me to come back and serve you in bed tonight. Looking at Luo Qingtong, Yi Qianming transmitted a message to her with a faint expression. Plop! Luo Qingtong turned around and was about to leave with Elder Yu. Hearing this, she slipped and almost fell to the ground. Serve him in bed. Why did this man suddenly say such a sentence? Luo Qingtong's lips twitched. She did not know why, but she suddenly had a very bad premonition. Serve him in bed. It seemed to be what she and little Ming Zun had said before. Could this man have little Nether Venerable's memories? Thinking of this, Luo Qingtong suddenly felt her face turn red. Oh my God! After all, she had done many things to little Nether Venerable. She must have made a lot of sauce for the little guy. So, Even Yi Qianxian knew about it. Luo Qingtong's face turned green. Seeing the expression on her face, Yi Qianxian's lips curled into a smile. The face hidden under the dark golden mask was indescribably handsome. He chuckled and left. Before he left, he glanced at Luo Qingtong meaningfully. This morning, Yi Qianxian had already absorbed the wisp of soul flame in the 9 Nether Phoenix ring. Although he had lost a lot of power, that wisp of soul did not dissipate and did not damage his foundation. After that wisp of soul came back, he knew everything that Luo Qingtong had done to him. This woman had indeed coveted him for a long time. Otherwise, why would she be unable to control her feelings for that wisp of soul? Serve him in bed? He would naturally satisfy her request. Luo Qingtong's lips twitched as she watched Yi Qianxian leave. She only felt that her reputation was ruined. Everything was ruined. **T. Who could tell her why Yi Qianxian also had the memories of the wisp of soul? When she imprisoned little Nether Venerable, didn't she cut off the connection between them? Oh my God! Luo Qingtong covered her face and only felt a burst of pain in her stomach and teeth. Chapter 597. At the same time, in the imperial palace of Chu, in a magnificent palace, Elder Luo stood in the middle of the main hall with a nervous look on his face. He didn't know where he was. What was this place? Why was he in such a place when he woke up? Master Luo looked at the furnishings in the palace and felt that there was no place that wasn't luxurious and noble. The things in the hall were treasures that the Tianyu Empire had collected for thousands of years. After Luo Qingtong left, she ordered the people in the Evil Valley to protect the Luo family. She also told Master Luo about the treasures in the Evil Valley. She told him to equip the Luo family's disciples and the Luo family's Iron Army whenever he needed it. The Luo family was the most important. At that time, Master Luo was shocked. He didn't know that the treasures of the Tianyu Imperial Palace were stolen by Luo Qingtong. At that time, the matter was so big that he didn't know it was his precious granddaughter who did it. But now, in this palace, even a tile inlaid on the ground was more precious than the treasures of the Tianyu Empire. Where is this? Master Luo was at a loss. He remembered that when he was in the Luo family, Princess suddenly appeared with a ferocious face and attacked him crazily against the array formation in the Luo family. In the end, when he saw Luo Qingtong enter, he directly self-destructed. Master Luo didn't even have time to ask his precious granddaughter who the man who appeared in her room was. When he opened his eyes again, he was here. Is anyone here? He tried to ask, wanting to leave here. However, he had only taken a step forward when the curtains in front of him were suddenly pulled open, revealing a graceful figure. Chia. Grandpa Luo was stunned when he saw the figure appear. He looked at the graceful and luxurious figure in front of him. She wore a pure white mink fur cloak and a beautiful embroidered dress. The woman who appeared in front of him was gorgeous, graceful, and noble, with a fierce and heroic aura around her. Her face was like a spring flower, and her beautiful eyes were slightly raised, looking at him coldly. Luo Tong, I didn't expect you to have aged to this extent after not seeing you for so many years. A slightly mocking voice sounded. The woman who was lazily leaning on the chaise lounge got up and looked at him. The light in her eyes was very complicated. The woman wore a phoenix ring on her finger. The phoenix pattern on the ring was exactly the same as the one Luo Qingtong saw on Luo's forehead. Empress Dowager Yanxi of the Great Chu. If Luo Qingtong were here, she would definitely be very surprised. The old woman that Elder Yu spoke of, Empress Dowager Yanxi of the Great Chu Sacred Dynasty, was actually such a young and beautiful woman. After advancing to the martial emperor realm, a martial artist's strength would enter the union of heaven and man stage, and they would be able to retain their appearance at that time. In other words, one's appearance would be fixed at the age of one's breakthrough to martial emperor. The aura of this Empress Dowager Yanxi of the Great Chu Dynasty was clearly not at the level of a martial emperor. In other words, Her appearance had been fixed decades ago. She looked exactly the same as she did a few decades ago. Grandfather Luo was stunned. He didn't expect to meet the woman that he had been dreaming of for so many years here. The other party's appearance hadn't changed at all, making Grandfather Luo feel like he was in a trance. He was already dead and he was in the underworld, so he could see such a scene. Chapter 598. Jiao, is it really you? Old Master Luo's voice trembled as he took a step forward. He wanted to touch the woman in front of him, but a figure suddenly appeared in front of him and blocked him. How dare you? How dare you be disrespectful to the Empress Dowager? The person blocking Old Master Luo was naturally the personal servant of Empress Dowager Yin Shi. Empress Dowager? Old Master Luo's expression was dazed. At this time, he realized that in addition to Yin Shi herself, there were several other servant girls guarding by the side. The auras of these people were surging and vast. When the aura around them was activated, it faintly caused the surrounding spiritual energy to fluctuate as well. Their cultivation was clearly above the martial emperor level. Empress Dowager? Old Master Luo's voice murmured. He looked at Empress Dowager Yin Shi with a blank expression. You didn't die all these years. Yes. Looking at the expression on his face, the light in Yin Shi's eyes became more complicated, then suddenly became cold. I didn't die. Luo Tong, thank you for fulfilling the misunderstanding back then. If not for this, how could I have today's fortune? I am now the Empress Dowager Yin Shi of the Great Chu Sacred Dynasty. Pay attention to your identity. The name Shi is not something you can call. Listening to her merciless words, Grandfather Luo's face turned ghastly pale. He thought of what happened back then. He left home when he was young and went out to train. He met and fell in love with Yin Shi, but then he was schemed against and was surrounded by a beast tied deep in the mountains. When he fought his way out of the encirclement covered in blood, he knew that something had happened to Yin Shi. She was slandered for having an affair with someone else and was chased by his brothers for thousands of miles. Because he didn't appear from beginning to end, Yin Shi thought that he believed the slander. After more than 10 days, she took the child and jumped off the cliff. When Old Master Luo rushed over, he saw the red horn disappear in front of him. He didn't even see her for the last time. He still remembered what Yin Shi shouted to the heavens at that time, saying that she would never forgive him in this life. At that time, he and Yin Shi already had a child, Luo Qingtong's father, his legitimate son. But Yin Shi was slandered for having an affair with someone else, and the child was also slandered as a bastard. In the process of being chased, he was also slashed several times. Old Master Luo had desperately jumped down at that time, but he didn't find Yin Shi, only the child hanging on a tree branch. The latter's aura of Luo Qingtong was weak, his face purple from the cold and the snow, and there were injuries on his body. If he didn't arrive in time, he definitely wouldn't be saved. Elder Luo returned with a broken heart. After investigating everything, he found out that it was all part of his so-called brother's plan. Luo Qingtong, Luo Qingtong, Luo Tong, Qingtong, because the of Luo, liked, his of his is Luo, Luo Qingtong, Luo, of the Luo, to kill, of Luo. But even so, his lover couldn't come back. Old Master Luo regretted it for the rest of his life. If it wasn't for his mistake and gullibility, with Yin Shi's strength, nothing would have happened. But his so-called brother stole his personal keepsake and threw it in front of Yin Shi, saying that he had cut off all ties with her and would never see her and that bastard again. Chapter 599. Every time he thought of this, Master Luo's heart was filled with unspeakable pain and regret. After that, he brought the child back to the Luo family and never left Dongli again. He devoted himself to developing the Luo family. From the beginning to the end, he only had Luo Qingtong's father as his legitimate son. He never married again. Luo Lauer, and the others were actually the orphans of the generals who died fighting for the Luo family. Old Master Luo brought these children back and passed them off as his own to stop the elders of the Luo family from asking him to marry and have children. Otherwise, why would there be so many concubines in the huge marquee residence, but not even a shadow of a concubine? Everyone thought that it was because Master Luo did not want the concubines to affect the position of the eldest son of the Luo family, so he deliberately did not take in concubines and only had children outside. But they did not know that the truth was like this. That was why Master Luo was so angry when Luo Xingning coveted the inheritance of the Luo family and assassinated Luo Qingtong. Other than the fact that Luo Xingning had a shady background, it was also because Luo Qingtong was the only successor of the Luo family. Only she had the blood of the Luo family. Cheer, I'm sorry. Master Luo's mouth was full of bitterness. He did not expect that Yanxi was not dead and had become the Empress Dowager of the Chu sacred dynasty. She must have hated him all these years, right? That was why she had never looked for him. After all, he did almost kill her and the child back then. Don't say sorry. I don't want to hear it. Luo Tong, do you think you can repay what you owe me with just an apology? Yanxi, who had been looking at him with an indifferent expression all this while, suddenly became emotional after hearing his apology. If this man had not refused to believe her, how could she have lost her child? Yanxi still remembered her despair back then. She was forced to the edge of the cliff and had been waiting for him to appear, waiting for him to give her a chance to explain. She did not betray him, but he did not appear from the beginning to the end. The funny thing was that she had not forgotten him until now, but he had already married and had children. The Luo family was prosperous, and there were many legitimate sons and concubines. They had completely forgotten about her. Yanxi thought of everything she saw after she was rescued and found Dongli. Love and hate intertwined in her heart. She swore that she would never see this man again, and she had done well all these years. But why did this man appear in front of her? Yanxi was agitated. She turned around and was about to leave. If she hadn't sensed the activation of the life and death interdependence curse and knew that his life was in danger, she wouldn't have appeared here. This man didn't believe her back then and allowed those people to slander her, but she still couldn't forget him. Yanxi hated herself for being like this. Looking at her back as she left, Elder Luo was also dispirited. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly cried out, "Xie, you can do whatever you want to me, but can you help me send a message to the Luo family and tell them that I'm fine?" Elder Luo didn't know how he ended up here, but presumably Luo Qingtong and the others didn't know about it. He didn't want Luo Qingtong to worry about him, and he didn't want Luo Qingtong and Yanxi to go against each other. He stayed here of his own accord. No matter what Yanxi did to him, he would not complain. Luo Tong, you have no room to bargain with me. It's enough that I saved your life. As for anything else, don't even think about it. Also, from tomorrow onwards, you will pretend to be a eunuch and follow me. Chapter 600. Yanxi said coldly and went straight out of the palace. No, Xia. Old Master Luo was anxious. During this period of time, he had already understood his precious granddaughter's ability very well. If the latter wanted to find him, she would definitely be able to. At that time, the two sides would inevitably meet. He didn't want anything to happen to the two of them, so he said that. Xia, he called out anxiously, but Yanxi had already left, leaving old Master Luo alone there to worry. Eastern border country, Luo family. Luo Qingtong and Elder you were drinking tea while discussing Yi Qianqian's meridians. Luo Qingtong finally knew why the situation of Yi Qianqian's meridians was so strange. Heavenly meridian body. Yes. Elder you took a sip of tea, put down the teacup in his hand, and nodded. Heavenly meridian body. Born with meridians connected in extraordinary strength. Every breath you take is the gathering of spiritual energy. Yi Brat was born with his own strength, directly at the realm of unity of heaven and man. After that, his strength soared, and no one knows what level his strength has reached now. This brat was born to make people jealous. Using the word monster is not enough to describe his strength. Elder, you sighed. You don't know how shocked I was when I first saw him. A child less than 10 years old, but his strength was already at the peak of the world, and no one could compare. However, at this point, he shook his head and said, being too outstanding will definitely cause the jealousy of the heavens. What's more, with his heavenly meridian body, there are no bottlenecks in cultivation. Such a heaven-defying body, I'm afraid even the heavens will fear it, and it will not tolerate it. So, there's a problem with his meridians? Luo Qingtong said. Yes. Elder, you nodded. A heavenly meridian body will definitely not live past 28 years old, he said in a low voice. This is recorded in the ancient records. It is said that such a physique is hard to come by in tens of thousands of years. Each one of them is amazing, enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with the heavens, but they all fell early. Yi Brat's meridians had a problem when he was 20 years old. The originally strong meridians began to become weak, thinner than paper. As his strength increases, his meridians will become weaker and weaker. Speaking up to here, Elder Yuehan let out a long sigh and said, Don't look at how this brat Ye's strength seems to be very formidable right now. But in reality, he's only unleashed less than 30% of his strength. The terror of the heavenly vein body is beyond the imagination of ordinary people. I can only tell you that when I saw him more than 10 years ago, he already had his current strength. As for the heavenly vein body, it's out of his control. By absorbing and gathering spiritual energy at every moment, his strength is increasing almost every moment. And with this growth, his meridians will be unable to bear the burden. The stronger he is, the harder it will be for his meridians to bear. So in these past years, that little knight boy has rarely used his strength. He has even set the scope of his activities within the true Spill continent, and no longer. As Elder Yuelao spoke to here, he suddenly paused. That was close, that was close. He almost let it slip. Anyway, you don't know how famous he was in the past. This Blackfield's title of Underworld Venerable is actually somewhat insulting to him. Elder Yu curled his lips as he said this, then shook his head and sighed. What a pity. I've tried my best to find a way to cure the drawbacks of his heavenly vein body, but in these past few years, the results have been minimal. It can't even compare to what you casually torment him. As he spoke to here, he suddenly asked Luo Qingtong with great interest, Girl, tell me, how did you treat him? His current meridians are a bit stronger than before. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.